Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 33 of Ken's Counseling Couch. Today we will be analyzing some of the testimony from the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. If you've been following it, it's been, I don't even know how to put it into words. It's been painful to watch a prosecution be done so poorly, to watch someone's rights be infringed effectively. But especially today, to watch a now 18-year-old, but at the time 17-year-old, be put into probably one of the worst situations you can imagine. I, as an adult, would not want to be put into this situation, right? I cannot imagine the pain, the trauma, the fucking nightmares, the reliving it, the sights, this, like, you close your eyes and just the worst things happen. The worst things run through your head. It's just awful, awful things to worry about. And you have this kid put into a situation where he's forced to effectively defend his own life and engage in the act of self-defense. And we have a prosecutor who, yesterday, was the most condescending motherfucker I have ever seen. Not this prosecutor, but the other guy, who was so fucking condescending towards a guy who probably has autism, is on the autism spectrum, if not somewhere nearby, right? If not that, something in that range or in that region, right? And they talk down to this guy, and he's just fucking slapping them back and forth, back and forth. And it was amazing. It was hilarious to a certain degree, right? But how do you deal with a situation like that where, you know, could you have Kyle, who probably at his own urging, right? At his own urging, told his lawyers, told his attorneys, I want to testify, because no real good defense attorney is going to let you do that. Because, for an 18-year-old kid, I have been watching this trial since day one. Watching Kyle testify today was astounding. He was very well behaved. He never lost his cool. He never got short. He never yelled or screamed at the prosecutor. And you couldn't get that out of some of the best people in the business. The only reason I think you can get it out of an 18-year-old kid, the only reason, is because he was in the right the entire time. Now, there's disagreement on that, and I know that. But today, my focus is not necessarily on Kyle's right or wrong. Today, I personally got pissed off by seeing people making the accusation that, oh, look, he's fake crying. He's fake crying. He's not really upset. He murdered those two people. He killed those two people. Yeah, he's faking it and all this. And this it irritates the shit out of me. My perspective from what I'm watching, I personally believe that there's a traumatic stress disorder going on. What we're going to do is, because my job isn't to do a legal analysis today. My job is to do a psych kind of understanding and perspective or analysis. Whatever words you want to use. Again, disclaimer, bottom text, right? Look down there, like, not his therapist. This is not, I'm not, whatever, all that fun shit, right? The issue is, how do you put a kid in this situation and expect him to, at 17, which we've talked about before on this channel, brain development and ability for logical understanding and all that stuff, right? There's so much that goes into it. Expect him to make a flawless execution of decisions. No one can. Not in that kind of situation. Not when you're put into a traumatic situation. Whether it's self-defense, whether it's a physical assault, a sexual assault, anything like that. No one's going to have a perfect response, and that's okay. But in this situation, I'm watching a kid. I still call him a kid, even though he's an adult now, right? He was a kid at the time, and he's still effectively a kid, right? Unfortunately, he's had to deal with all this. He's had to live with this. And it's not something you forget. This is not something you let go overnight, right? You can't just wake up tomorrow and go, well, I shot so many people and I'm just going to be okay with it. No, motherfucker, no. Not how that works. Not how it goes. It's not easy. It's not okay. And it's taking every ounce of me to not throw shit at my TV earlier today. Because I'm that mad. I'm that frustrated. As I'm watching this kid struggle to tell. And this is before he gets into testimony where it's cross-examination, where it becomes very, tense and very adversarial. This is back and forth with his own attorney. And the kid's already starting to lose his shit. They had to take a break because of it, which we'll see. We're going to start going through it. So I'm skipping about an hour into the testimony. I'm about 10 minutes before he has the first breakdown. We're going to skip around a bit because the first hour is very smooth. The first hour of his testimony, very smooth, very calm, collected, nothing out of the ordinary. Everything was beautifully done. Beautifully done. You could not ask a client as an attorney to do any better. Because he fucking did as good as he's going to do in that situation. Bravo for that. Because you had an asshole motherfucker come after you. Which I will say, fuck that guy for doing that. Because that was just wrong. The way that the prosecutor... And we'll see how the prosecutor comes after him. And it was just... Oof. I don't know how you do that. So let's see. Is this the right one? Watch. Okay. Just making sure I got the right window here. Let me put this over here, actually. I will full screen that. And let's pull this up. All right, so let's start watch. Oh, it took a lot to watch this. Like, I'm watching this and I'm just thinking of anyone I've ever had as a client who's ever gone through something traumatic. Anyone I've ever interacted with as a family member, a friend, a fucking acquaintance. And I'm just seeing all this stuff go through this kid. Like this situation. I can't imagine how horrible it was. So I would imagine it was tough. So like I said, we're starting at about an hour, 11 minutes into this testimony. This is a video from... unfortunately, like my little audio avatar is covering it. Well, I'll take it off real quick. Law and Crime, their YouTube channel. If you want really good coverage with commentary, I recommend Nick 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 over at 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Law. If anyone's familiar with him, I have some history, to say the least. Nick's a great guy. Nick's been doing some great shows. So we're going to watch this. We're going to really deep dive into this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to break it. I'm going to pause. We'll break it. We're going to go to, we'll watch it. We're going to break. We'll read some stuff real quick. We'll go back. We'll watch a bit more. Maybe break. We'll go back and forth a little bit. I might yell. I might scream. I might literally pound the table when we get to the prosecutor because I can't fucking stand the guy. Personally, cannot stand him. And I know... and I see everyone in the chat. Hello, everybody. I do see you. Thank you for coming and joining me today. We got a good bit of people here today. So we're going to watch this. We'll get started and pay close attention to what's going on. And we'll see what we can get out of this. Okay. So let me go ahead and hit play. So I'm going to quiet down. I'm going to only jump in when necessary. so you guys can see what's really going on right now. So let me go ahead and start that.
I get done with my interview with Mr. McGinnis, and I asked Mr. McGinnis, no, I don't ask him. I said, if you want to come with us, that's fine, to document and
also, the audio problems aren't mine. That's because of the court,
me and
I
Ryan
promise.
helping people. And he said, yeah, sure, and he followed behind us.
And in that tape for Mr. McGinnis, there's talk about you being an EMT, correct?
Yes.
Are you an EMT?
I am not.
You have first aid and other training?
I do.
And you go to south on Sheridan Road?
Correct.
You cross 60th and Sheridan Road?
I believe we stay just to the right, going south on Sheridan Road.
And eventually you cross Sheridan Road?
Eventually.
And were the Bearcats there yet?
No.
Set up stop people that you were aware of?
Also not my fault.
Not that I was aware of. I just know they were parked right there and people were throwing rocks at them.
Did anybody tell you not to cross that line? You wouldn't be able to go back?
Not until later in the evening.
Okay. You cross that line, and where do you go?
We continue straight in a southerly direction down Sheridan Road.
Let me pause real quick. Pay attention really closely to his facial features right here. You can see it. They're starting to, I know it's 720p. I can't help that. The stream from the court itself is 720p. I can't help that. I'm sorry. But pay attention as we start going through this part of the testimony, because we're starting to get close to the event of the first incident, to the things that lead up to the first shooting, right? The things that eventually caused Kyle to get into a situation where he had to shoot someone. And with that, you have these events starting to come back. And memory is a real thing. It's a really complex thing. It's not like a VCR or a tape player. Like you put it in, it goes forward. But memory works in a really complex way. Literally, there's classes on it that take months to just get a decent understanding of it at the basic level, right? But what's really interesting with trauma and with PTSD and with traumatic stress is your senses are all in play. Everything you see, everything you taste, everything you smell, everything you touch, everything, you hear, all of it. Every one of them is in play. The feeling of a wet t-shirt because you were running and sweating, and you can have the hearing, the way someone's shoes ran on the ground, the way someone's cologne smelled, like all of it is in play. And you could probably imagine as someone having to recollect all of this information, how difficult it is, how fucking awful it is. And so you'll see here in Kyle's facial features, he's starting to kind of, his cheek, he's starting to like frown. You can start to see it sag. You can start to see he's no longer holding like a steady kind of facial reaction. So let's go ahead and continue. His voice begins to crack too. You'll notice that as well.
Are you going anyplace in particular?
No, we were just going to see if anybody needed medical help, and I looked at a guy's shoulder on the way there.
Okay. And you finish with the guy's shoulder, and you continue on, and what happens?
I continue walking in a southerly direction down Sheridan Road, and then...
So notice what he's doing. He's closing his eyes. He's trying to take himself back to that night. He's trying to be absolutely accurate on it. He's thinking, where am I going? What am I doing? And he corrects himself. He's like, no, we were going this, or no, we were doing... He's very specific. And when he doesn't know, he says he doesn't know. And it's funny is when we get into the prosecutor's part with the cross exam, he corrects the prosecutor on so much shit. It's great. But I'll go ahead and get play. I just wanted to point that out real quick.
Then as I'm walking, I believe you guys have been referring to him as Yellow Pants. He said he said something to me. I believe it was, you were the one that pointed your rifle at me with the laser pointed at me. I believe that's what I heard. And I
Inspector.
didn't. That's the first time I saw him that night, so I was confused. So I said I did, and then I continued to walk away.
And was the did an admission that you did it, or more of a statement with a question?
It was a sarcastic remark.
Okay. Did you engage with him any further?
No.
And from there, where do you go?
There I continue walking in a southerly direction, merging towards the middle of Sheridan Road.
Okay, at that point, you become aware of anything?
In about as I'm walking, I start to look because I realize Mr. Balch is not with me anymore.
Okay, did you continue on your way down Sheridan Road without Mr. Balch?
No, I actually went to go look for Mr. Balch in the Ultimate gas station parking lot.
Okay, when you went to the Ultimate gas station parking lot, describe what was going on there.
There were a lot of people there. I don't really know what was going on. I was just focused on trying to find Mr. Balch. As I was looking for him, couldn't find him. I said, okay, no problem. I'll just go back to the car source number 2.
Okay, and describe what happened as you did that.
As I did that, I received a phone call from Dominic Black.
Okay, let me back up. Were you able to get back to car source number 2?
No, I did not.
Describe that.
As I was trying to get back, the police stopped me. Well, didn't stop me. They told me, I believe they said something along the lines of to not go down there. And I was telling them, hey, I need to go down there. That's where I'm at, that business. I don't remember exactly how that conversation went, but they wouldn't let me go back to car source lot number 2.
So you weren't able to get back to car source 2?
I was not.
Did you disobey the police's order?
No.
And you're alone, you're stuck on the other side of the police line from the car source 2, where do you go?
I go to where there's other people at the gas station, protecting the gas station, and I go there because I believe that's the safest place to go because there's other people there. And
At that point, were you able to find Mr. Balch?
I was not.
While you're at the Ultimate gas station, I think we've been calling it?
Correct.
Point it out.
Audio problems are still there. It just happens like that.
The Ultimate Convenience Center.
No, so unfortunately, we can't see what he's pointing at
Golf
for
gas
this.
station.
Okay. And when you were there, what's the next significant thing that happened?
Dominic Black calls me and he says, Kyle, I need you to get down to the car source lot number 3. The cars are being bashed in. They're setting all the cars on fire. I need you to go and put the fires out.
Okay. And did you do anything as a result of that phone call?
I did.
What?
At the Ultimate gas station, I asked, I don't know who he is, but I asked an individual if he could come with me and if I could have a fire extinguisher to put out the fires.
Were both of those requests satisfied?
One of them were.
What?
I was given a fire extinguisher, but he said he can't come with me, and he said he believes there's already people down there helping protect the business.
Okay. And what did you do then?
I start running towards the car source lot number 3 to put out the fires, pausing occasionally to catch my breath and walk.
Okay. On the way to car source 3, did you have any interaction with Mr. Rosenbaum?
I did not.
Did you speak to Mr. Rosenbaum?
No.
Did you notice Mr. Rosenbaum doing anything as you went down to car source 3?
I didn't notice Mr. Rosenbaum until he came out from behind the car and ambushed me.
Okay, I'll get to that.
You
Did
could start
run
to
the
see
whole
his
way?
face, bro. His mom's
No, I
already
didn't.
losing it. Like, his mom's already getting upset, and it's really
You
sad.
had your gun,
Like,
correct?
Yes.
imagine being the
And you
mom
had
of
a
that
fire
child.
extinguisher,
Yes.
and you had your medic.
My medical
Your son's
bag,
gone
yes.
through this
And
awful
were you
thing.
asking
He's
people
being
about
accused of these
medic
crimes.
at that point?
I was asking people if they needed medical help as I was getting down there.
Did you receive any response?
You have a kid looking out
No,
for his
I didn't.
community.
Describe your approach to car source number 3.
As I'm walking down
We're about
Sheridan
2
Road,
minutes away where the real breakdown happens because I have a timestamp on it.
I hear somebody scream, "Burn in hell," and I replied with friendly, friendly, friendly to let them know, hey, I'm just here to help. I don't want any problems. I just want to put out the fires if there are any. I continue walking, and then I notice the Duramax. I notice a flame in the back seat of the Duramax, and I step towards the Duramax, and as I'm stepping forward, I believe his name is now Jack. He steps
Also not my
in
fault.
his hand, and
Yeah, his mom's been crying this whole time,
As,
it looks like. I mean, I
as
would be
I'm
too.
as I'm walking towards to put out the fire, I drop the fire extinguisher and I take a step back.
Okay. When you step back from Mr. Zinminski, what's your plan?
My plan is to get out of that situation and go back north down Sheridan Road.
His
to
voice
where,
starts cracking.
The car source lot number 2 was.
There's a change in
And
the inflection.
Did you get back? Were you
It's
able to
starting
go,
now. It's really starting
northerly
now.
direction?
I wasn't.
Describe what happened.
Once I take that step back, I look over my shoulder and
Voice cracks more.
Mr. Rosenbaum was now running from my right side, and I was cornered from in front of me with Mr. Zinminski,
Oof.
and
We're starting to see it's building. All that emotion's building. It's all building up to this. Every single fucking split second going to this event becomes worse and worse and worse. It becomes this emotional weight that you cannot undo. You can't just set the fuck aside as much as we would like to. Unfortunately, we don't have that ability. It's awful. It's just awful. And I hate seeing this. It's awful. I get no joy out of seeing this. But it, like I said earlier, it's driving me nuts to see people treat this shit like it's a fucking game. Oh, he's faking it. No. All of this is fucking classic signs to me. All of this is classic acute stress or PTSD, depending on pre or immediately post or time after, because we'll have to get into that in a minute. But let's continue. He's trying to hold it together. It's too much.
people right there.
That's hard to impossible to fake.
Take a deep breath.
He ain't that fucking good. I'm sorry. And it's fucking awful. He's got to be watched by the world during this.
That's where I run.
We're going to just take time for our break anyway. You can just relax for a minute, sir. We're going to take a break about 10 minutes, and please don't talk about the case.
He's
during the break.
hyperventilating.
Read, watch, and listen to any kind of crap.
I'm sure it's tough watching his mom. You don't walk out of that without suffering some trauma, right? And he's an hour and 20 minutes into this into this hearing. I think like he takes a stand like I'm sorry, this is an hour 20 minutes, and he takes the stand around, what time is it? I'm skimming through here. About 30, 40. So he's been up there for about 40 minutes, I think. Like, look, and the audio's muted. I don't have that. Mom's bawling her fucking eyes out right now. Mom is distraught. It makes it hard. I know the video quality drop sucks. Unfortunately, I don't have control over that. So we break it about 121 on about 121 on this. We go till
Let's aim for 10 minutes, but it'll probably be a tad longer.
yeah, so we aim for 10 minutes. We end up coming back at 121. It's now 137 on the timer here, on the video timer here. So that's what, 15 minutes or so. Let me just skim forward.
And
Okay.
you were testifying about coming into contact with Mr. Rosenbaum,
Yes.
and you saw
So he's
Mr.
calm. He's got his
Rosenbaum.
stuff back
What
together.
happened?
Once I got to that car and I stepped forward to put that fire in the Duramax out, and Mr. Zinminski stepped towards me, I went to go run back south down Sheridan, and Mr. Rosenbaum was right there at the corner of the Duramax.
So he's
starting to chase me, and that's when.
the thing is, and anyone who, because I know you mentioned movie that someone pointed it out. I missed it, but that a single, like an eye glance like that in the middle of all that, like similar to the people who are, well, am I doing it right? Am I doing what you asked me to as it relates to other topics? And I don't know. I just don't. One, I've seen people truly upset doing the exact same shit. Two, I've been there too, doing the exact same shit. Pretty close to it's very common. I've been in the room or been on the phone with people, or like I know what this looks like to a certain degree. Not an expert, but this kid is fucking struck, and he's coming back 15 minutes. He's 15 minutes later. He's only got 10, 15 minutes to pull his shit together to come back and continue to testify. That's a huge fucking thing. So, whoever said that, fuck them. They can come on here and challenge me all day. There ain't no way that's fake. There ain't no fucking way that's fake. The only reason they're saying that is because they don't like the fact that Kyle shot someone. I don't like the fact that Kyle had to shoot someone because people couldn't fucking maintain their behavior. People couldn't maintain their composure in a situation like that. Instead of just beating the shit out of cars, which I'm not okay with either. Well, we have to go after a person because we won't let them beat the shit out of. They're not letting me beat the shit out of cars and other stuff. No, bullshit. Whether you think Kyle should have been there or not, the shit that was really wrong was the fact that a fucking adult who, whether he's got crimes or not in the past, decided to chase after him, throw shit at him. Someone else fired a gun. This guy threatened to hurt him earlier in the evening. There's this is like the clearest cut case of self-defense you could ever fucking have. The kid waits till the absolute last minutes to shoot. Absolute last literal seconds before he would have been fucking lost control of the gun, lost possession of the gun, shot himself by accident, shot someone else by accident because of fucking being fighting or manipulating. There are fucking people who are trained to do this shit who fuck it up. And this kid's 17. He's no fucking expert. He takes every conceivable measure to not do anything stupid, to not make it worse on him, because he knows the moment he pulls that trigger, his life changes forever. The moment he fires a fucking bullet into someone, his life will change forever. You can't undo that trigger pull. Anyone who ever has worked or manipulated a gun, whether fucking around or not, whether being serious or not, knows that when you pull that trigger, something really bad comes out of the fucking end of it, and you can't take that back. Right? So why do you think he waits? Why do you think he waits? Because he absolutely knows it's going to change his life. Every single time that trigger squeezed, it changes his life. Period. He's managing a situation no one I've ever worked with, I've ever interacted with, no professional, no police, no one. You could find Delta Force operatives who would shoot sooner. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. But continue to pay attention to Kyle's body language, because we're going to skip around a bit. This is, again, coming back from the breakdown. Because I had to take some phone calls earlier. Yeah, his attorney, the skill set of his attorney, his primary attorney and his secondary attorney, that's something to be argued, I will agree. But I don't think that there's any, I don't think you can pull that off as a fake unless you've practiced that for months, unless you're an actor who knows how to get into that mindset and who knows how to make themselves emotional. So the only way he would be able to do that is if he had some way to trigger himself to do that, which I don't see. Because I agree, Chance. I completely agree with that. There is a special place in hell for them. Let's continue to watch some of this before we skip forward a bit.
And I realized the only place I can run with the people around me is straight towards the building of the car source lot number 3.
When you saw Mr. Rosenbaum, that's when you said friendly?
When I heard burn inside, I don't know exactly where I was at in the time for that.
Did Mr. Rosenbaum say anything to you?
No, Mr. Zinminski instructed Mr. Rosenbaum to get him and kill him. That's what I heard.
And you go running what's been referred to the southwest corner of car source?
Yes.
And as you're running in that direction, describe being chased. What was happening?
As I'm running in that southwest direction, Mr. Rosenbaum throws, at the time, I know it's a bag now, but when he threw it at me, with the light, it looked silver and it looked like the chain when he threw it at me. And then I continue, I turn around
and pay attention to his thought process. Like, it's very logical. It's very well spoken for his age.
I point my gun at Mr. Rosenbaum.
Does that stop him from chasing you?
It does not.
Okay. After you turn around and you had your hands up kind of in a low ready position,
Yes.
and you see Mr. Rosenbaum coming at you,
Yes.
and what do you do then?
After he throws the bag and he continues to run, he's gaining speed on me. A gunshot is fired from behind me, directly behind me, and I take a few steps, and that's when I turn around. And as I'm turning around, Mr. Rosenbaum is, I would say, from me to where the judge is, coming at me with his arms out in front of him. I remember his hand on the barrel of my gun.
And
that's something that
keep running.
You could see, like,
when I was over there,
it's a stressful thing to think about that.
People surrounding
someone trying to take your gun from you.
That those cars, and there was no space for me to continue to run to.
His voice continues to tremble. It's
so
starting to break
around?
again.
Yes.
And as you see him lunging at you, what do you do?
I shoot him.
And how many times did you shoot?
I believe 4.
And after you shot him, what did you do?
The people around the
So let me pause real quick.
the people around the car.
I'm actually going to go back.
I believe 4.
Do around?
Yes.
And as you see him lunging at you, what do you do?
So the way Kyle responds to this, a lot of people criticized, and I think for the situation, you have what you have. You can only do so much, right? It's difficult to manage that, to deal with that. So the way he says this,
I shoot him.
it comes off a little callous, to a little bit, not the worst. I've seen worse. But I don't think you can really, at this point, he's gone through a breakdown. He's trying to hold it together, doing a decent job, still has some breakthroughs of emotions. That trauma's there. The trauma's in the back of his mind. Everything's playing through his head. Also, real quick, we got our first super chat of the night. So from Roscoe P. Coltrane for $4.99, we got prosecutions and defense both see this as a carrier-defining case. I'm angry because this kid's life is on the line and they both don't care. I agree. I think the defense does care. I think 𝗫𝐿𝐸, the I call him jokingly skinhead lawyer TM for trademarked because he's bald. People refer to him as Agent 47. Hey, look at that. My stream element spot almost shills my stream elements at the same time. Good timing, stream element spot. But the prosecutor, the prosecution in this, they're fucking disgusting. You don't have to like guns. You don't have to agree with guns and gun laws, and you can want gun control and shit. But to take this and be your fucking case to try and, because we know that the prosecutor's doing this to get elected. We fucking know that he's doing that. There's no way he's not. Like, I'm going to do this and people are going to think I'm great. Nah. Dude, you look like a dick. And not a good one. You don't look like a good dick either. Like, we know what a good dick looks like. You're not it. So, don't be that fucking guy. Don't be the guy that wants to ruin an 18-year-old's life because he had to fucking defend himself from an idiot. 3 idiots. 4, technically, the one he fucking missed. The people call this guy the white supremacist. The only person he fucking misses is the black guy. Literally. The one person he shoots at that's black, he misses the shots. Every other shot lands into a fucking white person. But yet, he's a white supremacist. He's a fucking kid. I'm trying not to get hot here. Thank you, Roscoe, for your super chat. Also, if you do want a super chat, don't feel compelled to. It is at the bottom. You can click on the thing and donate money. Or also, you can support me in other ways, too. There's also my locals as well. So all the shilling and stuff is out of the way at the moment. So that's how you can do that. I think the defense is trying something that I think is stupid. But by doing what they did, they kind of opened up the door for a mistrial with prejudice, which is a great thing because then you can just end it. The judge calls it a day. They slam that door. They can't bring this back up at all, and it's done. And I'm hoping that's what happens tomorrow or whatever the next fucking day of trial is. But it needs to happen. This should never have gone to trial. This is not the mass murder. This is not the active shooter. This isn't the kid who shoots up his high school. This is the kid who had no other option but to pull a trigger. Yeah, you may not like that he was carrying a gun around. It was his right. Legally, in the law, even though it's been misread, he can do that. It's disgusting to me to see it, because as one of the people who's been involved in his previously helped as part of his trial preparation and stuff, and he's even said before, and I'll address the whole fire cadet EMT cadet shit in a bit because I used to be a junior firefighter. I know all about it. Hey, Biden. You know, I know how those programs work. The prosecutor misrepresents the fuck out of it because he doesn't understand how this shit works. Guess how old I was when I got my EMT license, you stupid fuck? I was 16 years old. I started my EMT class when I was 15 because technically the way the rules were in the state I was in is you had to be 16 by the time you took the test. So I started EMT class before I was 16. I was 16 years old. I was an EMT. I was 16 years old in charge of medical calls at my fire department because I was the only medical person on the truck because we didn't have that many EMTs. So guess who got to run the fucking calls at 16 years old? As an EMT basic. Me. Fun. Like, it was stressful as shit. I have calls that I remember vividly. I have one specific call I remember vividly being 16 years old. There was 3 of us on the truck. I was the only fucking person. I can tell you almost every detail of that call. I can tell you how awful it makes me feel that the guy didn't live. I can tell you every fucking thing about it because I cannot get it out of my memory. It's fucking shit. I have other shit that I can vividly remember that I wish I could, and I have shit that comes up that I wish I didn't have to fucking remember. Some of it was stupid, some of it was silly, some of it was fucking awful, some of it was extremely traumatic. I wish it would go away. I wish it would go away and never come back. Yes, Rossette, we have fun stories. We have some really creepy ass ones, we have some really weird ones, and we have the really fucking awful ones. Also, buy Dragon's Treasure Tea. Check him out on, I think he has a YouTube channel, and I don't remember the link to his shit. But check that out. Let's continue, because if I don't stop, I'll rant some more. Also, thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it.
And how many times did you shoot?
I believe 4.
And after you shot him, what did you do?
The people around the cars that were originally there.
Again, he's
were not
closing his
there
eyes to kind of
anymore.
remember that, what was going on. It's coming back to,
away,
it's
and
in
I
his
ran around
fucking, it's in his
to
mind's eye.
See if I could help Mr. Rosenbaum.
And when you got to Mr. Rosenbaum, what was happening?
Mr. McGinnis was, he took off his helmet and slammed it on the ground and took off his shirt, and I don't remember what he said. I wasn't focused on that. I was in shock, sort of.
Let me back up a second.
I would be
Did
in
you
shock
know Mr.
too.
McGinnis was even around.
I didn't.
Okay.
I hate
And
that. I
he
hate
says something to you,
I
what
hate
do
that
you-
prosecutor's fucking face. I hate the
pull
way
out
he
my
fucking
phone
looks
and I
like.
call
I better get this
Dominic
fucker
Black.
on cross exam. I'm gonna get him on cross
You
exam.
call Dominic, and what do you say?
I told him I just shot somebody. I had to shoot him.
And what do you do then?
I now know it to be Kelly Zeminski, Joshua Zeminski, and I don't know the other people were screaming, "Get his ass, get his ass, get him, get him, get him."
And based
And you
upon
know
that,
what?
did you
I
feel
would
as though
be
you
a
were safe to
scared
stay where you were
motherfucker
at?
too.
I thought the safest
I would be a
option
little
was-
bitch in that
would be to
situation
go
too, because
north down
fuck
Sheridan
every
to turn
single one of
myself
those
into the law
who would be
enforcement
coming
down
after me.
there.
Fuck them.
And as you head down Sheridan Road, describe what's going on.
As I'm running, at first I'm in the sidewalk.
Voice cracking
and
again.
Mr.
Struggling to pull up
Lukowski,
the shit.
Jason
It's clear to
Lukowski
me that he's
is
struggling
in
with
the
this.
Sidewalk, and I
There's an
stopped
internal conflict
to
going
talk to
on.
Mr. Lukowski for a brief second. I remember telling him that I just shot somebody and I need help to get to the police because the crowd, there was a mob was chasing me.
Also, when's the last active
Did
shooter
Mr.
you've known that
Lukowski
goes
offer
and
you
turns
any
himself in
help?
after getting one shot,
don't
one
remember.
person in?
What do you do then?
Fucking
I
cite that to
continued
someone. Cite that to
run
me.
After hearing people were saying, cranium him, get him, kill him. People were screaming, and I just was trying to get to the police running down Sheridan Road.
And you say, I'm trying to get to the police. Why were you trying to get to the police?
So I didn't do anything wrong. I defended myself.
Did you feel as though there was safety where the police were?
Yes.
And as you head down Sheridan Road, what's the next thing you
Poor
remember?
fucking mom. Poor
The
mom.
next
I
thing I
swear to God.
remember is Anthony Huber striking me in the head with a skateboard.
Okay. As you sit here today, do you remember talking to 𝐒𝐨𝐥𝐸?
Yeah, sorta, a little bit. I didn't know it was 𝐒𝐨𝐥𝐸.
Welcome,
when
Dragon's
he
Treasure.
came up to me, but sorta.
Okay. And when this individual runs up to you and gets how close?
I would say within a foot.
Did you shoot him?
I did not.
Did you point your gun at him?
I did not.
Why not?
I didn't see him as a threat to my safety or life.
Okay. Was he armed at that time?
Not that I noticed.
Okay. And you continue running in a northerly direction down Sheridan Road?
Correct.
And as you're running in that direction, you said the next thing you remember is Anthony Huber.
Yes.
Describe that.
Anthony Huber, what I remember is running past Anthony Huber, and as I'm running past Mr. Huber, he's holding his skateboard like a baseball bat, and he swings it down, and I block it with my arm, trying to prevent it from hitting me, but it still hits me in the neck, and as I block it, it goes.
To be
flying
fair, that
somewhere
could have
off in
fractured
the
his neck.
distance.
That could have paralyzed him.
Do you stop then?
No,
What do you do next?
I keep running down Sheridan Road towards the police line.
Then what happens?
I get lightheaded. I almost pass out.
Probably
and I
'cause you
stumble and
gotta-
hit the ground.
As this Nick was saying,
Before you hit the ground,
probably had a
how
concussion.
many times
Not
were
a
you struck?
doctor, but likely
I believe
had a
twice.
concussion after getting hit in the
Remember
fucking head.
about the other one?
I remember
And
the first
all the
one
other
being
shit.
a rock. I don't remember who did it, but I remember like the bumpiness of like a concrete rock hitting me in the back of the head.
Okay. Now, after being struck with Mr. Huber's skateboard, you end up on the ground.
Yes.
You're on the ground. What's the first thing you remember?
Taking time to think about it. Taking
As
time
I'm
to
on the
prepare himself.
ground,
Because he knows
there
it's going
are
to
people
be
around
shitty to
me.
retell.
I don't recall how many, but I remember moving my rifle in their direction and they back off besides one person.
Okay. When you noticed people by you, you said you moved your rifle in their direction.
Yes.
Did that individual keep coming?
The last person did.
Okay. The people that stopped, what did you do to them?
Nothing.
Okay. And you're saying the last person in
Yep,
that group
I definitely hear it.
continued to come at you?
Yes.
And describe what happened.
The last person, I don't know his name. I don't
The
think he was
adrenaline
ever
was probably what kept
identified.
him from
Um,
getting on his ass.
Jumps at me with he was wearing boots, I believe, and
Jump kick
as
man.
he's running at me and jumping.
Sounds like a fucking
As
superhero
his
name.
boot is making contact with my face, I fired 2 shots at him.
Why did you shoot at him?
Missed the black
I
guy.
thought if I were to be knocked out, or he would have stomped my face in if I didn't fire.
Or worse. Or
As a
took your
result
gun
of
and
being
popped
kicked
you in the
face,
fucking head.
what happens?
Maybe that.
Mr. Huber immediately
Oh my god,
after
this
I'm
is
kicked
fucking
in the
irritating to
face,
listen to.
runs up as I'm
Sad
sitting
to
up
fucking watch.
to try to get up and get to the police. I'm on my back, and
Exactly, Biden.
Mr.
I'm sorry that
Huber
that happened.
runs
That you had to
up.
do that.
as I'm getting up, he strikes me in the neck with his skateboard a second time.
Then what happened?
Fuck that guy.
He grabs my gun and I can feel it pulling away from me, and I can feel the strap starting to come off my body.
And what
It's a
do you
good
do
point,
then?
Ryan. It's
I
a very
fire
good
one
point.
shot.
And after you fire striking, we now know Mr. Huber, what do you do?
I lower my weapon and I see Mr. Grosskreutz with his hands up, and as I'm lowering my weapon, I look down, and then Mr. Grosskreutz, he lunges at me with his pistol pointed directly at my head.
Oh wait, I'm gonna
Now,
talk about that.
You heard Mr.
Don't you worry,
Grosskreuz's
champ.
testimony about re-racking?
Yes,
Did you re-rack your weapon?
I did not.
Could I have the exhibit, please? Make sure it's safe.
Yeah, there's no way he had time to do that. Plus, they never found an unspent round. Like, there's just so much about this case that doesn't warrant prosecution. Like, this is a case where you, at the day of, you go, well, shit. Good day. You're okay. You're lucky you're alive. I'm sorry, kid, you had to do that. Here's some therapists in the area. Go fucking talk to them because you're really going to need them. We're not going to prosecute. That should have been the end of it.
Showing you what's been previously marked, Exhibit 28.
Exactly.
Recognize this?
Exactly,
I do.
Stag. He had 22 rounds left. He had 30 in the mag.
Is Mr.
There
Grosskreutz
wasn't
said
one that could have
re-rack?
gone missing. There could not have been one that gone missing.
Is that this?
Yes,
Do you call it re-racking?
I call it charging.
Oh, pulling the
putting
charging
black
handle
rock
like
in the
most
chamber.
fucking people
To
know.
recharge, you have to pull this all the way back.
Yes,
Say that's about 4 inches.
I.
That's correct. No, I'm asking you if you agree with that approximation. Mr. Rittenhouse, how far do you think that is?
God damn, it's such a stupid fucking objection.
3-4 inches.
And if the weapon is loaded and you re-rack, what happens?
If there was already a round in the chamber, when you re-rack the rifle, a live round would come out, chambering a new round into the chamber.
Now, we got to the point where Mr. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is standing in front of you, has his hands up,
Correct.
and are you aware that he's
Yep,
armed?
he is shaking
At
again.
that point, I do see a pistol in his hand.
Is that
I don't think he had
the
an
same or different
FTE
from
though.
your first encounter
I don't
with Mr.
see him doing
That is
anything
different.
that would
And
indicate
he
that.
is standing, you said, how close to you?
What I remember is our feet were touching, what it seemed like.
Okay.
That's
And
fucking close.
You do what?
My rifle is down, his hands are up, his pistol is in his hand, and then Mr. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 looks at me, and that's when Mr. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 brings his arm down like this. Like, his arm is like that with me on the ground, and his pistol is pointed at me, and that's when I shoot him.
How many times did you shoot him?
Bicep.
And after you shoot Mr. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, do you know where you shot him?
No.
What happens after you shoot him?
What happens is
He's no longer a threat to me.
no, he isn't,
There's only
because his hands fucking
There's
locked
only
into the
one
fucking
person in
gun. He
front
can't
of
let it
me,
go
and his
because of
hands
the
are
muscle
up.
damage.
I briefly
He literally
point
can't
my
let it go.
rifle at him, and
No,
I
Seb.
get onto one knee, getting up, and he backs up with his hands up, and I don't shoot him.
Did you notice anybody to your side?
To my left, there was a gentleman with a pipe, and to my right, I believe it was a fence post. I don't know what it was, but it was a large object.
Once you're to your feet, what do you do?
I start walking towards the police line to turn myself into the police.
Describe.
Clearly an active
Where's
shooter,
the
guys.
police lines? Is it still in the same
Obviously an
place?
active shooter.
It moved up a little bit. I was down in the road about approximately right here.
Yeah, they
I'd
got a
say
good picture of his arm though.
over here somewhere in this area. I don't remember exactly, but the police line was right here. I could see the flashing lights as I was trying to get to the police before.
Okay, and as you go towards the police line, describe what happens.
I run and walk. I put my hands up, and as I'm walking towards the police, I can't really hear anything. My vision is
We're
very
almost
narrow.
to the-
I can only see directly in front of me. I see the flashing
Almost to the
lights.
prosecutor. I think I'm going
Um,
to skip ahead. Should I skip
remember
ahead?
occasionally tried to move my rifle behind me, to put it behind me, so the.
What do you guys think? Should I skip ahead a bit?
So the police didn't see me as a threat when I tried to turn myself
We're at
in.
153.
I continue to walk, and then I walk towards the window of the sedan, the police cruiser sedan. I don't know what they're called.
Skip ahead? Okay, let's skip ahead. Okay, let's go back a bit. Because the prosecutor basically violates his constitutional rights within the first 15 minutes of this. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Were you having any physical discussion?
Here we go.
I had to tell them that I was just involved in a shooting in Kenosha, and I needed Kenosha detectives.
Okay. Did they take you into custody immediately?
No.
What did they do?
They had me sit in the lobby of the police department.
Were you handcuffed to a chair?
I was not.
Did you stay there?
For about, I couldn't give you the exact time, but until Detective Howard and Detective Antaranium showed up.
Okay.
We
And
will shit on Binger. Don't you worry, boy.
Were you having any
Don't you
physical
worry.
discomfort as you waited there?
I was vomiting and having panic attacks, and my head was spinning, and I couldn't think clearly at that point.
I have nothing further.
Tim?
It's such a dangerous move for a defendant to ever testify in their own defense. It's so dangerous. But if anyone was to pull it off, the fact that an 18-year-old kid did it, and he did it probably 97% well. Out of all like he made a few mistakes, but they countered themselves because of the fucking sheer arrogance of the prosecution. in my opinion. Right? But just the way Binger treats this kid just disgusts me. Twisted Puppet 5 says his name is not Binger, it's Littlefinger. Get it right.
Everybody that you shot at that night, you intended to kill. Correct?
That's such a
I
dick
didn't
first
intend to
question.
kill them,
That's
I
such a
intended
dick thing to
I
do.
intended to stop the people who were attacking me.
Thank
You're
you.
killing them.
No.
I did what I had
I
to
would
do
be
to
yelling the
stop person
fuck
who was
off
attacking
of my
me.
mind if I was in that courtroom.
By killing them.
Look at it.
2 of them
Oh,
passed
dear
away,
Christ, I
but
wanna
stopped
oh, my
the
God.
threat from attacking me.
By
He's
using
so
deadly
well
force
spoken.
I
He's
used
so well
deadly
spoken on
force.
this.
that you knew was going to kill.
I didn't know if it was going
we
to kill
don't-
them,
you
but
don't know.
I used deadly force to stop the threat that was attacking me.
Oh, thank God. He
You
at least knows that.
intentionally used
That's the sentence, guys.
deadly
Remember that
force against
sentence.
Joseph Rosenbaum, correct?
Yes.
You intentionally used
I
deadly force against the man
stopped
who
the
came
threat.
and tried to kick you in the face.
I used deadly
Yeah,
force
right.
until the threat was
You
eliminated. That's
intentionally
it.
used deadly force against Anthony Huber, correct?
No, it was a fucking
You
accident. I
intentionally
tripped and accidentally used deadly force.
against 𝐒𝐻𝐸, correct?
Frederick
Yes.
Little's
With
Frederick
regard
Little
to
5
Joseph
says, hey, Ken, hope
Rosenbaum,
you're doing well.
you
Thank you,
fired
Frederick.
4 shots at him, correct?
I'm doing
Yes.
okay today
You
because I get
intended
to
to
shit
kill
on
him.
Binger because of
Correct.
his
I
horrible
didn't
shit
intend to kill
today.
him. I intended to stop the person who was attacking me and trying to steal my gun.
God, it's so great watching an 18-year-old fucking just destroy this career prosecutor.
Since
It's
August
amazing.
25th, 2020, this is the first
As
time
Nick said, he's been rolling natural
that you have
20s all
told
fucking day.
your
All
story.
goddamn day.
Sustained.
Ooh.
Since August 25th.
So that was the first
2020,
objection
you've had
that
the
was really
benefit
important.
Of watching countless
He's
videos
18 now, Nerd
of
Trumbull.
your actions that night, correct?
I've seen certain videos, not all of them. I've seen the majority of them actually here during the trial.
You've also had the opportunity to read articles. People have written interviews, things like that, about what happened that night, correct?
I do my best to avoid what people write on the internet. A majority of it, it's not true.
Rogue Jen, this might actually
You
have been
also
worth it
sat
because it
here
might actually get
through
the
8
case.
days of
Is
trial,
the mistrial
correct?
Yes.
with prejudice.
And you've had the opportunity to watch all of the videos.
I
that
think
have been played in
he
this trial.
did well on
Yes.
cross-exam.
Sir, if you could please let me finish my question before answering. And I will do my best to let you finish your answer before I go on to the next question. Fair?
Yes.
You have also had the opportunity to listen to the testimony of all 30
I hit Yankees and Fries, was watching Bigger Each Up by Judge made my day. Oh, I was,
Yes.
as I described to others earlier, I was,
You are telling us.
I
your side of
finished
the story,
twice at
correct?
least
Correct.
before it was even done.
I'm going to ask you folks to go in the library for just a second.
Yes! This is the best part! This is the part that makes me so happy. He's such a fucking dick. Oh, it's great. Oh, look at the judge. Look at his face. Look at the judge's face now. You can tell. You can tell something's wrong. You can tell. Look how serious that fucking facial expression is. Look at that. That is a judge who is going to rip someone's ass out. I want to see a eviscerated asshole at this point. It fucking is deserved. Did I lose audio? Or is it still? Okay, there we go.
You need to account for this.
Your Honor, I don't want to jury here. He's commenting on my client's right to remain silent.
No, Your Honor. I am making the point that after hearing everything,
I'm
in the
about to
case,
end this
now
man's
he's
career. Yes.
Tailoring his story.
At least his election potential.
The problem is, this is a grave constitutional violation
You-
for you
Fuck yeah, you
to
tell him.
talk about the defendant's silence. And that is, and you're right. You're right on the borderline. And you
Oh,
may,
it's so. I love this part. That's why we're keeping
you
it
may
in.
be over, but it better stop.
Understood.
This is, I can't think of the case, the initial case on it, but it's, this is not permitted. All right, ask the jury to come in, please.
Oh yeah. This is the teaser, guys. This is the teaser. It gets better. It gets better. Yeah, Binger was a complete exactly nerd. Nerd trouble. He was a complete dick, right? He's just like, oh, it's not a big deal. It basically fucked over the defendant's rights. He doesn't really need his rights. Just like, wait, who cares about rights? The defendant doesn't really need rights. He doesn't need to really worry about protecting himself. It's clear that 𝐒𝐨𝐽𝐽 was in danger for his life. That's why he was going to shoot you, but it's not okay for you. You had a right. Literally one of the arguments this fucking dick makes is, well, he had a handgun and you had a rifle. Your big AR rifle's bigger. It's scarier, basically. So why he's got a handgun. Of course he's in fear for his life, but you shouldn't have been because he had a handgun. It's basically the same fucking argument he made. Basically the argument summed up. Walks around that argument for like a half an hour. Legit. I don't want to say that word. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I've never seen anything so... This is shit this is how you know it's real life. This is the shit you cannot make up. This is the shit that is so bad that is like... If someone brought this to a fucking movie director and said, I want to make this a movie, like, no one would fucking believe that. That's how you know it's real life.
AR-15 semi-automatic rifle that evening, correct?
Oh, God.
Yes.
You had it loaded with 30 rounds of full metal jacket ammunition, correct?
Yes.
That weapon
Private Pyle!
with 30 rounds is capable of killing at least 30 people, correct?
Yes.
You had arranged to have Dominic Black purchase that weapon for you in Ladysmith, Wisconsin in early May of 2020. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's a manlet man. He's not really a threat. He's like 5'3". He's not really a threat.
Going camping, and Dominic Black brought his rifle, and we were talking. I was like, hey, what if we get a rifle for me? I'll give you the money. You can purchase it. It's yours until I'm 18. So I bought the rifle for Dominic, and I can use it.
223 millimeter jacket.
We can.
God damn it! I
do
did
a
that wrong.
private sale, and we can have it turned over.
5.86 millimeter. Was that he actually 2.3? I'm just too tired to fucking
As a
do the math in my
17-year-old,
head.
you could not have that gun, correct?
I knew I could not buy that gun.
You knew you could not possess that gun
I
also,
love how he's
correct?
owning him on the
You
law.
weren't
It's
aware
great.
that under Wisconsin law,
I'm going to instruct the jury later about the law.
D-
So, and what he thinks on the subject is not dispositive.
He's
anyway,
testifying,
so,
basically.
It was unlawful
just
for him to purchase.
The reason we're watching this part, not just because it's funny as shit to
it was
Binger,
unlawful for you to bring it
the
home,
fucking
correct?
prosecutor's behavior.
In Illinois, I
He's
wasn't
just so
able to bring it
fucking
home
crack. Like, he
because I
just
didn't have
doesn't
a FOID
fucking
card,
care.
Firearm owner identification card.
You
in
knew
Illinois.
You knew in Illinois that you couldn't get that until you turned 18, correct?
No, you can get a FOID card at 16 in Illinois.
But you didn't have one.
I did not.
And even after this gun was purchased for you in May, you never got one after that either, did you?
Actually, I applied for a FOID card in May of 2020, but due to the charges, and there was a backlog in Illinois for the FOID card, but after you filed the charges against me, it was denied.
I kind of
because
like
the
that call
charges
out there.
here
Like,
in the
after you
state.
filed the charges against me.
You found out about that after you were criminally charged in this case?
I found out about this in November of 2020. A letter was sent to my old residence.
So you knew that without that FOID card, the gun could not go back to your residence in Illinois, correct?
Correct.
And you agreed that the gun would be kept at Dominic Black's stepfather's house here in Kenosha, correct?
Because he had a safe, yes.
And you agreed that you wouldn't have access to that gun, correct?
We agreed that the only time I would use the gun is when I was with him and we would go to like the Bristol shooting range or up north to his land.
But the only time prior to the night of August 25th, 2020, that you ever used that gun was up in Ladysmith, correct?
Correct.
So you didn't go to the Bristol shooting range ever
I
with that
did.
gun.
Not with that rifle, but I did.
Pay attention to my question,
owned.
please. You didn't ever
Fuck you,
go
Baker.
to the Bristol shooting range with that gun, correct?
Correct.
And you picked out that gun because Dominic had it, correct?
This
I-
argument
yeah.
about
You could have
fucking Call of Duty
wanted
that comes
to,
up is
chosen
ridiculous.
from any number of guns that
This is literally a
for sale,
1990s
fair
argument
enough.
that they did.
that were at that store.
This is
there
the
were
90s,
many,
early
but
2000
yes.
argument. Video games,
Sure
you're
that
causing gun
store in
violence
Lady
shit.
Smith
It's
isn't
legit.
the only store that sells guns, correct?
You can ask questions.
That was a question.
No, it was a statement.
Burn.
Isn't it correct, Mr. Rittenhouse, that there are other places?
Yeah,
to
Dr.
purchase
Black
guns
is great.
besides
I love
that
Dr.
one
Black's
store in
reactions.
Ladysmith, Wisconsin?
Like, you know, he's like, this
I
motherfucker.
believe so, but that's where we're at, so that's where we got.
Hey,
the
chat.
gun.
And
Hey, Shinobu.
you, if you wanted to, could have given Dominic Black money to purchase a gun at other locations. Fair?
Didn't cross my mind, but now that you say it, yeah.
Why did you?
Oh, yeah,
pick
props to Photo
to
Chat. Photo
want
Chat was
Dominic
amazing
Black to
yesterday.
buy for you an AR-15 as opposed to a pistol or a shotgun or some other type of
Yes, it
weapon?
has. I've thought about doing a
I
stream on
cannot
that.
legally possess or carry a pistol because I'm not 18 in Wisconsin. I believe it's 18 in
I
Wisconsin.
love how he knows the
Pistol.
law better than the prosecutor. It's
Um,
amazing to me.
But with the rifle, I knew I could possess that rifle. I knew I couldn't buy it, but I knew I could like take it to like the shooting range or.
Oh, that's great. I
possess
gotta
it.
look up that
Um,
later. That's great.
And with shotguns, they didn't have any shotguns in stock.
Oh, yeah.
That was my original plan.
Your
to get a
AR-15.
shotgun for trap
What about
shooting,
your
but
AR-15?
there weren't any. at
Were you
that
carrying
Lady
your
Smith store.
AR-15?
I didn't
It was
wanna
like
go
the
to
whole
Walmart to
fucking
buy
time.
one.
The entire the whole
So your
trial that kept getting brought up.
understanding at that time was that Wisconsin law prohibited you as a 17-year-old from possessing a pistol, but you could have an AR-15?
Yeah.
Yes.
What was that understanding based on?
The law.
The understanding was based on when we would go up north. It was me, Dominic, and my sister.
Yeah,
and we were
that's what I
allowed
was
to
kind of
carry
getting
the
at. Is
rifles
you can hear
around,
that.
and
He's like, I'm right. I mean,
officers over there said it was
both
fine.
prosecutors have this this
I'm gonna move to
perception.
strike this hearsay.
Motherfucker, I hate this guy so much.
Question on what the knowledge was.
This is so great watching this shit again.
It's not admissible, and none of this is, frankly. That's why I
None of
interrupted
this is
before.
admissible.
What
Oh, it's
what the
amazing.
defendant believes the law to be, what the district attorney believes the law to be, what the defense believes the law to be, are irrelevant. I will tell you, when I instruct you, what the law of Wisconsin is pertaining to the possession of a firearm by a person under 18.
I can go with that characterization. I can agree with
I'm allowing
that.
the testimony right now because it bears on. There's an old maxim under the law, ignorantia juris non excusat. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Ignorance of the criminal law is not an excuse. If you commit a criminal act, whether you knew it was criminal or not, you're responsible for your conduct, and because you're responsible to know the law. It's not relevant, except in this case, there are specific issues about his awareness and knowledge about certain conduct that is relevant on some issues. So it's quite complicated. Hopefully it'll sort out when I instruct you at the end. But that's why I'm allowing the questions and the answers, but do not be confused about anything that these people say is not necessarily accurate as to the state of Wisconsin law. Any question about that? Okay, thanks. Go ahead.
So you're telling us that the reason that you wanted Dominic to buy you an AR-15 as opposed to a pistol is the only reason was because you felt you couldn't lawfully possess a pistol?
AR-15. AR-15.
You didn't pick out the AR-15 for any other reason?
I thought it looked cool, but no.
You didn't pick it out because you wanted to go hunting with it, did you?
No.
You didn't pick it out because you were going to use it to protect your house, correct?
Correct.
You picked it out because it looked cool.
I thought it looked cool. Guess that's
It
the
looked
reason.
cool, so I mean, it was a
resembled
murder
the
weapon.
types of weapons that are used in first-person shooter video games, correct?
I don't really play first-person shooter video games.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
There's a variety of guns, including shotguns,
There's a
pistols,
variety of guns. It's
there's
not just the
guns in video games that
AR-15s.
resemble all guns.
Isn't it true when you would hang
It's just
out
the
with
AR-15s.
Dominic
There's
Black,
just- there's
you'd
no other
play
AR-15s.
Call of Duty and other first-person
Take care,
shooter
Cool
video
Frog.
games?
sometimes.
Sorry, I just now
And
saw
those are
that.
games in which you use weapons like AR-15s to pretty much shoot anybody who comes at you.
AR-15s are shitty weapons.
It's a
they're not
video
really. They're
game where
like
two
military
players
weapons, but
are
they're so
playing
dangerous. But they're not
together.
dangerous. They don't kill.
I don't
But they're so
really
dangerous.
understand the meaning of your
Make up the fucking
question,
like.
to be
It's like a
honest.
fucking Venn
Isn't one of the
diagram that
things
doesn't make
people do in
sense.
these video games try and kill everyone else with your guns?
Yes, that's absolutely what I do. I do that in fucking Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Yeah,
That's what
the
you do in every
is
video
just
game.
a video game. It's
Just
not
fucking
real
slaughter
life.
everyone. No, it's not the only thing
Now,
you do in the game.
Introduced yourself
Goddamn.
as living in Walworth.
Does this
County
man not
right
understand
now.
how fucking
Is that
like
right?
has he played a video
On the
game?
date
Like
that
I would
this
legit
all
ask,
happened,
have you ever
you were
grabbed a
an
goddamn
Illinois
video game
resident?
console or
You
sat in
had
front of a
grown
computer
up
and played a
in
game?
Illinois?
I don't think you
Correct.
have.
You had not spent any significant time living here in Wisconsin, correct?
No,
You'd agree with me that's correct.
no.
Wolvenar,
I've
those
spent time in my
those sound
father's house
interesting.
and partially live here also.
Anyway, I can
so
check those
no,
out.
That's not correct.
You indicated you had attended, was it Penn Foster High School?
Yes,
That's an online high school?
correct.
So you were not attending high school in person.
No,
And at the time that all of the things in this case were happening,
Let's see, where's
from the
this
time the
judge start yelling at
AR-15 was
the-
purchased to the
I really
night
wanna
of
get
August
there.
25th,
Is
you
this
were
it?
17 years old
Damn it,
that
how far
entire
up?
time, correct?
correct.
We might have
Can
to
we have
skip
exhibit
ahead
number
to do
7
that.
please?
I think we're gonna do that. I think we're gonna skip ahead. Yes, I am on Nick's Locals. Where is this stupid section here? I love this part. Oh god, this fucking TikTok. 4 doors more whores. I love that shit. I love Kyle so much. That's the best shit. He has the best fucking TikTok name. That's so great. That's awful, but it's the fucking greatest shit too. I don't know why. That's fucking. I can't stop laughing at this shit. Ring. Hello. 4 doors more horrors. How can I help you? Oh, you're getting into them AR-15s? Yeah, I got some horrors too. They come free. Like, there's jokes to be made. Like, there's so many goddamn jokes. In fact, let me do this real quick because it's worth the change of screen for the 30 seconds. Is this it? Yes. So stole this from Nick's Discord. Thank you to whoever made this. This is just beautiful. Say there's a bunch of good ones. Welcome, C Crew. Kyle, yeah, Kyle was amazing today. I'm gonna rename this stream to 4 Doors More Horrors. So yeah, it's a fucking so great for a TikTok name. Like, and they're trying to they're trying to impugn his character on this, right? They're trying to make him out to be like this bad guy because he has the name 4 Doors More Horrors. If I was the prosecutor, I'd be like, so you have creative TikTok name. It's a compliment. It's one fucking compliment. Just give him one compliment and be like, I noticed you had a creative TikTok name. Where's the origin of that? Just to get the answer. Just to get the answer. Because you don't know why. And it's probably funny. It's probably funny, whatever the source was. I don't know what it is, but it's still great. I'm just trying not to like lose my shit right now. Now do you see why so many people get fucking frustrated at this shit? So many people get frustrated at this case. It's awful that a kid is suffering through all this bullshit. I think it says 4 door s'more whores. I don't think it's 4 doors more whores. I think it's 4 door s'more whores. So you make s'mores from the whores. I mean, that just, bruh, I'm just trying to be famous. Yeah, You should see some of the stupid, and I still have them, the stupid fucking accounts I made when I was a kid. He said it's the saying, meaning, well, yeah. Thing is, if you have a four-door vehicle, then you can get more women in your vehicle. I agree. You can also put them in the trunk. Or if you have a hatchback, in the hatchback. You can tie them to the front bumper. You can tie them to the roof. It's all in that space. If you've ever played Tetris, you know how to stack them bitches. If you know how to stack them bitches in Tetris, you know how to stack them bitches in your car. All right? You'll make them fit. All right? I want to see the judge yell. Is this it? We're skipping ahead.
Or attempting.
Okay, so what happens?
Use deadly force to stop someone who is about to start an unoccupied car on force. Correct?
Deadly force.
Correct? Because engaged 𝐒𝐲𝐽 on the night of August 25th, correct?
We're going back a little bit.
And you did that because you felt that your life was in danger from those four people, correct?
Yes.
And
God damn it, Mike.
Are
I hate you so much right now.
telling this jury that it was, in your mind, justified to use deadly force to protect your own life, correct?
Yes.
You'd agree with me that you were not allowed to use deadly force to protect that CarSource building, correct?
Well, I wasn't using deadly force to protect the property. I used deadly force to protect myself, so.
Please listen to my question and answer my question if you can. You'd agree with me that you were not allowed to use deadly force to protect that CarSource building, correct?
Yes.
You'd agree with me that you were not allowed to use deadly force to stop someone from smashing the windows of an unoccupied parked car, correct?
I don't think you could use deadly force for that.
You'd agree with me that you can't use deadly force to stop someone from lighting a metal dumpster on fire, correct?
Correct.
You'd agree with me that you can't use deadly force to stop
This car
someone
has 4
from taking
horsepower. God
Correct.
damn it, no.
Can't use deadly force to stop someone.
Thank you,
from
JP.
lighting a
That was
flatbed
amazing.
trailer on fire, correct?
Correct.
You'd agree with me that you can't use deadly force to stop someone who is about to start an unoccupied car
God damn it.
on fire, correct?
Correct.
You'd agree with me that you can't use deadly force to stop someone from lighting some traffic cones in the middle
Exactly.
of the street on fire.
It's a really pretty
Correct?
look.
Correct.
So you understand that there's a difference between using deadly force to protect yourself and using it to protect property, correct?
Yes.
And you'd agree with me that you're not allowed to use deadly force to protect property, correct?
Yes.
But
That's
yet
not always
you have
true, depending on your
previously
state.
indicated that
My
you
state's
wish
based and allows
had
you to
your
do that
AR-15
for felonies, I
to
think.
protect someone's property,
The
correct?
4 horse they did.
I'm going to ask you to go into the library again.
Okay,
for
hold
a
on,
moment.
hold on. We gotta go back because it was an important thing and I was laughing over it.
Allowed to use deadly force to protect property, correct?
Yes.
But yet you have previously indicated that you wished you had your AR-15 to protect someone's property, correct?
I'm going to,
Oh, do you see his attorney lose his shit? Because
I'm going to ask you to
this
go
is
into
something
the
that
library,
they're not allowed to
again
talk
for a
about.
moment, please. Please don't talk about the case.
look, their attorneys are pissed right now. You were about to watch a judge who's been on the bench for like 40 years or something goatsy this man, and it's beautiful. If you've never seen goatsy, don't look it up. 𝐒𝐲𝐽𝐽. Do not look it up. I'm just giving you the warning. It's like meat spin. Don't look it up. Take my word for it. But this man goatsy is the fucking prosecutor, and it's beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen on television this week. Well, actually on YouTube, because I watched it on YouTube. But I do wish Richards would object. But the judge here is wanting to, this just destroys this man.
He's either forgetting court's rulings or attempting to provoke a
Pixelation's
mistrial.
not my fault either.
He
I don't
knows
think.
he can't go into this, and he's asking the question.
Yeah, it's not my fault.
I asked the court to strongly admonish him, and the next time it happens, I'll be asking for a mistrial with prejudice. He's an
I don't know what you're talking about there. That's not my fault either.
First of all, Your Honor, this was the subject of a motion. I'm well aware of that. And
He's
the
such
court
a
left the door
condescending dick.
open.
For me, not for you.
Yes! Fuck him up! Fuck him up,
My
boy!
understanding of
You
your
should have come and asked
Yes!
for
Oh, this is
reconsideration.
great.
You did on the one
Oh, this is
motion, and in
amazing.
fact, I granted your motion for
I love this so much.
That was on our motion.
Oh, it's beautiful.
That's a,
Don't fucking shake your head, dick!
I did. I granted.
we did not move
That
to
was their
reconsider.
motion.
We have not filed
forgive
any
me.
motions to reconsider
Forgive
in
me.
this case.
That was their motion for reconsideration, which I denied. But I said I denied it. or
Oh,
I
he's definitely
had a
little.
Bias towards denial is what I did. Held it open with a bias towards denial. Why would you think that that made it okay for you, without any advance notice, to bring this matter before the jury? I was astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence. That's basic law. It's been basic law in this country for 40 years, 50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that. And it gives, well, I'll leave it at that. So I don't know what you're up to.
May I respond?
Yes.
May I respond?
We filed another acts motion on this exact issue because, in my mind, and I argued this, it is identical to what was going on the night of August 25th, in the sense that the defendant was using this exact same weapon. He was using it in a manner to try and protect property.
No, he wasn't.
There's,
I love how the
Your
judge
Honor,
owns
with
it.
all due respect,
I'm not going to rehash the motion. That's
Come on, boy.
absolutely untrue.
I got money on the judge.
Your arguments of record, my comments are of record, and why I ruled as I did is of record. There's nothing that I heard in this trial to suggest anything's changed, even if you're correct in your assumption that you know more than I did at the time. You should have come to the court and say, I want to go into this.
He's absolutely
Why
right.
you would
He's
think that
absolutely
you could go
right.
into it without any advance notice to the court, I don't understand that. And as the defense is pointing out, you're an experienced trial lawyer, and this should not have been gone into.
Your
Exactly.
Honor, there have been things in this case, testimony in this case, that I believe opens the door to this. For
I
example,
think they're your fucking
the
fault.
defense has introduced evidence that the defendant
I think
pointed
you're
a
the
gun
problem in
at a
this
man
fucking
wearing
case,
yellow
dickhead.
pants because that person was on a car, on the car source lot. Now, there's no justification that I can think of why the defendant would point that gun at someone. The defendant has just testified this morning that he agreed with that person in the yellow pants, that he pointed the gun at him. He said, I was joking when I said that to the guy in the yellow pants, but he said, he's acknowledged that he told the person in the yellow pants, yeah, you're right. I did point a gun at you when you were sitting on a car.
He said, I did. That's what he
Exactly.
testified.
So he's agreeing. May I finish, please? I'd like to have a chance to make a record if I could.
Listen to
without
this
being
fucking
interrupted,
thing.
if that's okay.
He
has mentioned
yourself, or I
That
will
he's
unscrew your
acknowledged
head
that
and
he's
get down
used
your
this
neck.
gun to protect
That's what the
property.
judge has to be thinking
He's
right
also
now. Just saying.
acknowledged that he knows he can't do that. I am attempting to impeach him now with the prior August 10th incident, 15 days prior, involving the same gun, where he is threatening to use that gun to protect property.
He
It
didn't
goes,
have the gun with him.
Your Honor, he is saying he wished he did so he could shoot
Zoom and
You know,
enhance.
there's a lot of difference between commenting about something when you haven't got a gun and
Oh
threatening
shit, that
someone
sucks,
when
Ross.
you
I hope
do.
everything
it's
gets
interesting,
better.
Your Honor, because the entire defense theory in this case is Joseph Rosenbaum, who was
I
unarmed.
want you to tell me what the defense theory of the case is. I want,
I respond to what you just said, Your Honor. I'd like to respond to what you just said.
That's amazing.
I apologize, Madam Court Reporter, but I'd like to try and make a record without anyone interrupting me, if that's
This
okay.
is my courtroom now. I'm gonna fucking say what I
I
want to.
believe that there is a central part of this case that Mr. Rosenbaum is making threats that he has no ability to carry out. So, to your point, Your Honor, you're arguing that this August 10th incident, one aspect of why you don't believe it's relevant is the defendant didn't have the gun with him. This case is about someone who didn't have a weapon, and yet the jury is being told, because of those threats,
What a
that
bullshit
means the
argument.
defendant
What
has to
a
defend
bullshit
himself.
argument.
So, with all due respect, Your Honor, mere verbal threats have already been shown to this jury and used as a basis for someone's subsequent actions. I am attempting with the defendant to use his mere verbal threat on August 10th, 15 days prior, that he's going to shoot shoplifters with his
Look at how
AR-15
pissed off that mom
to
is.
impeach
I
the
love that
defendant
mom.
in a murder trial. I would ask the court's forbearance to do that. I apologize, Your Honor. You're right. I probably should have brought this to your attention earlier. I may have misunderstood your ruling because I
Also not
made
me.
that more relevant. You would admit it, or at least consider it it's an admittance. I believe, based on the evidence that we've heard, and more specifically, exactly what the defendant said earlier about admitting pointing a gun at someone who was merely jumping or sitting on a car, that the door is open now to this testimony. And I continue to believe that his state of mind, his intent, his belief as to self-defense is the core of this case. That was the basis for my motion. You were strongly inclined against it. I understand that. But now we're in the middle
This
of
is
trial.
all done
There's
for
been
the
a lot of
media.
evidence
That's all
come
this
in that
is.
I
It's
think
all
makes
for the
this
media to
relevant.
quote him.
So I'm
and say,
attempting
"The
to
poor
impeach
judge
the
is not
defendant
letting
on
me do
his
my
belief.
digging."
I believe
That's
I'm
all this
entitled
is.
to impeach the defendant on his beliefs.
He feels
and on his
entitled.
statements.
He feels entitled.
No, because you're talking about his beliefs. I think
Look at him.
what
Mom
they
doesn't have an
call-
AR-15. Yep.
His statements do, Your Honor. Because he just
Yep.
said,
He's such a scumbag.
can't
That's
use
why
deadly
we were
force,
watching this.
can't
That's
threaten to
why
use
we're
deadly
watching
force
this.
to protect property.
That's why
So
we're
now
just
I'm
doing
impeaching
this.
him on that.
Because this is such a dick move.
What's the court has seen no reason to change its ruling. And just so
For
this
good
record is
reason.
clear, in spite of the lengthy statement by Mr. Binger, before we started today, the
Oh.
court specifically stated in Mr. Binger's presence, there's been nothing to.
I hope someone photoshops him
change any of
drinking
my
that bottle
rulings.
of water
There have been numerous
with a dick in its
occasions
place.
during this trial.
That's the only
where
thing
they
I'm
opened
asking.
The door. The one time when they're going into Mr. Rosenbaum's.
That's the only request I have is
fire,
someone do that.
The reason
'cause
he doesn't
my
like
skills aren't that
guns,
great.
And I said something. I whispered in Mr. Krause's ear. It's because of the prior convictions. Please stop. And he did. He knows if you're going to go into something that's been excluded in a pretrial order, you better ask the court. You better get permission. This is
Right.
ridiculous.
it wasn't excluded, Your Honor.
You know why it was excluded in the first place? Because it was propensity evidence. That is exactly what 90404 is designed to prevent.
So propensity is
You're
like
talking about
prior
his
bad act
attitudes.
stuff, right?
His attitude is he wants to shoot people.
You can't talk about
Now,
prior bad act
I've
stuff.
admitted that kind of evidence in other trials when it's been appropriate.
There's only
I didn't
specific
admit it in
times you
this
can do
case
that
because
technically.
To me, what I've heard in this trial, and by the way, Mr. Richards absolutely correctly points out that just hours ago, I said I had heard nothing in this trial to change any of my rulings. So why?
Testimony, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
That was before the
Don't
defense testimony.
get brazen with me. You knew very well. You know very well that an attorney can't go into these types of areas when the judge has already ruled without asking outside the presence of the jury to do so. So don't give me that. That's number one. Number two, this is propensity evidence. I said at the time that I made my ruling, and I'll repeat again now for you. I
Yes.
see no similarity between talking about wishing you had your AR gun, which you don't have, so that you could take fire rounds at these
He kind of does.
shoplifters, and the incidents in these cases, which are not.
I don't think he was actually in the Marines.
There's nothing in your case that suggests the defendant was lying in wait to shoot at somebody, or reflecting upon the shooting for a vast amount of time. Every one of the incidents involves matters that involve seconds in time. So
Yep.
I commented at the time, I don't
Serving
see the
this
similarity,
motherfucker so
and I
bad.
don't see the similarity now. If it's not similar, that's.
I've
that's
seen
the
some of
whole
those
rule.
photos. There's some
Those are
pretty
all the
funny ones.
exceptions to 90404. Check the
There's some
authority.
pretty goddamn funny
Ignoring
ones.
evidence. Judge Weinstein, Colonel McCormick. It's the crime. The prior act has to bear the signature of the accused, or it has to be so similar as to suggest it's a common plan or something like that. You have an incident where he's making comments about some alleged shoplifters versus crimes that involve instantaneous actions, whether premeditated murder or whether self-defense, that's for the jury to decide. But I don't see the similarity. I said it couldn't come in, and it isn't coming in, no matter what you think. Number two, I have to be concerned that with what Mr. Richards has said about the progress of the trial, and when you were I said you were over the line, close to or over the line on commenting on the defendant's pretrial silence, which is a well-known rule.
That's correct.
I'm astonished.
Yeah.
That would have been an issue. So I don't
It's
wanna have
actually
another
pretty
issue
fucking
as long as
sad.
this case
It's
continues.
really
Is that
sad.
clear? It is. Thank you.
It is. It is. Yeah, watch. Oh, I hope they declare mistrial with prejudice. I hope they do. Just to piss him off. Just to piss him off. But I kind of think he wants it. Oh, no. Oh, God. No. It's the same dude. No, it's the same guy. How is that even possible? Hold on. Hold on. We need to do a specific, this is not a psychology analysis now, but this is, this may have a complete explanation for why this prosecution was brought. It's finally been uncovered. The truth behind the matter is here. This is exactly why Kyle Rittenhouse is charged. Not enough flair. Not enough flair. Hey, Mike Mysterio, how's it going? If he only had a bit more flair. Just a bit more flair. Yeah, this behavior is uncalled for. This is not a dumb attorney. This is an attorney who should know and should have his shit together. This is unacceptable behavior on the part of a prosecutor. It's just, it's unbelievable. It's unfucking believable. And then you have idiots like a link I just got, someone just shared in a Discord I'm in, quoting them from their Twitter, says, "This Rittenhouse trial is a travesty. The judge is a complete and total right-wing lunatic. A person went with a gun to a protest and shot people and is arguing self-defense. How can this be?" To clarify for the idiots, so this is a follow-up tweet. To clarify for the idiots, you only take a gun to a protest to do one thing, shoot people. So Gage Grosskreutz, who was illegally concealed carrying, because either A, his permit was expired, or B, it was revoked, because I've heard rumors that he posted that bitch on Twitter, and it says it's not expired, but apparently he admitted to illegally carrying during the trial, right? Admits to illegally carrying during the trial. So that's the motherfucker. Why are we not prosecuting him? He pulled a gun on somebody. He was going to shoot the guy. Well, I wasn't going to use my gun, but... And then him and his friend cover their... I mean, to be fair, if you have a friend like that, that's a good friend. That will cover your ass in the middle of this, right? Oh, I lied. I completely lied. I made that up. Gage never said that. Yeah, I didn't believe that. I'm sorry, I didn't believe that. Not at all. Not even close. There's no way. There's just no way. Yeah, if he didn't have a gun, he would have been a dead man. They would have fucking killed him. They would have assaulted him. They would have done something to him. And... Wolvenar, the Discord is for local supporters. I need to remember to pin the invite link to the top of the damn locals. I will do that later. Or, let me do that now while I'm thinking about it. I've got a specific link that's being used for that, so I need to make sure I use the right link. Invites. Where the fuck are my invites at? Server settings, invites. I guess I should just have it drop in here now because it is set up properly. Edit invite link. Doesn't expire. No maximum usage. Generate a new link. Okay. Let me pin that to the top of the locals. And again, that's for local supporters. So if you are a local supporter, if you don't know about my locals, you can go to kenscounselingcuts.locals.com. You can support me for $5 a month, get access to special things. Specifically, the Discord's the big thing right now. I've been dealing with some family emergency stuff the last few weeks, on and off. There's some family members with the health issues. There's a family member with some health issues. So I have been not streaming as much as I would like, but hopefully I'll be available more frequently in the near future. And let's go. Okay, pin post, other. Okay. All right, Discord link for locals supporters. So I'm hoping this weekend to try and do maybe another game night at some point. Try and kick back and relax a bit. It's been a bit stressful week or two for me. So we'll probably do that at some point. Also, actually, tell you what, I've got some locals. I've got the ability to grant some people some locals memberships. I've got some coins that I can spare. So I'll tell you what, anyone who emails me within the next 24 hours who can't currently support me due to their own situation, financial situation, whatever, I'll go ahead and give you a month or two for free. You don't have to put in a card or anything. I can just give it to you for free because I got some coins. I'll take your word for it. Trust basis, if you like it. You can continue afterwards supporting, but I can grant a few. I have the ability to hand out a decent amount right now because I got some coins I need to transfer. It's complicated. So anyone who sends me an email or anything like that, or contacts me on Discord, let me know if you can't support right now financially, but you'd like to be a member, I'll hook you up with something for now. We'll figure that out, and then we'll go from there. So, okay, that should be working now. Yeah, I have the ability to hand out a decent amount of invites now. So, yeah, Tucker is pretty based. It's kind of funny. Mike Mysterio, I'm doing a bit better. There's still a lot of stuff going on. I've got a family member with some health issues. So my wife's out of town helping with that. So that means I'm by myself at the moment. So this just means juggling all the things by myself at the moment for the next month or two. So, oh shit. Let's finish this real quick. Are we back? Hold on, let me pull this back up. Let's see. Does anyone know if Nick is streaming tonight? I don't remember. I think he's doing something fancy tomorrow. He's going on someone's show in the morning. But I didn't know if he was still streaming tonight. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Also, the no audio is not me. I think they go to lunch right after that. He's not doing it. He probably won't. I figured that much. Why is there no audio? Okay, so there's some more questions. What's this?
Not.
So you didn't know
They think they go to
what
lunch.
type of ammo was in that gun. Is that right?
They bitch about ammo for like 30 minutes. It's ridiculously stupid. All right, so we're skipping lunch real quick. We're gonna watch a little bit more of this, and this gets good. This gets good. Then we'll probably end it.
There is before, with the jury absent, and anything before we start?
There is, Judge.
What's up?
Hi. Judge, I'm at the lunch break. I had done some research, and at this point, the defense is going to be making a motion for a mistrial. However, that motion is going to be requested with prejudice. I'm aware that the court's aware that normally a defense motion for a mistrial does not preclude a retrial. I understand that. There are exceptions to that, however. And the case that I am drawing this from is Day versus State. It's 76 𝐷 588. And what it says is, an exception to this rule exists where a defendant's motion is necessitated by prosecutorial impropriety designed to avoid an acquittal. Now, what has happened in this morning was 2 times. The state had commented on Mr. Rittenhouse's right to remain silent. The first time he was admonished by the court. The second time the court had the jury leave and re-admonished him on that. Prior to Mr. Rittenhouse testifying, this court addressed various things, but with the lawyers. You had cited various statutes, and then you had asked if anything would be coming up on, for example, I think 90608. One of the other things you addressed was 90404. And you had said that based on the information that had come out at the trial, nothing had changed as it relates to your ruling. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Binger stated, and we looked it up, previously, he said to Mr. Rittenhouse, previously indicated that you wish to have your aid someone's property. In violation not only of the prior ruling that you had made, but the ruling that very day, that very morning.
Also, Mike, send me a message too on, send me an email or hit me up on Discord. If you're just a freebie, I'll hook you up too. Like I said, I can hand out a few free ones right now. I got the ability to.
For what amounts to prosecutorial overreaching. And the first one is intentional, in the sense of a culpable state of mind, in the nature of awareness that his activity would be prejudicial to the defendant. I would argue to you that that's clearly aware of that. You had warned him.
Still send me an email. I need your email address though, to whatever your locals account is, to be able to send you the free months. So I just need an email address is all. So basically, email me and I can hook you up.
He did it again.
I'll still do it anyway.
The second one, I think, requires some action by the court in terms of a finding. The second one says the prosecutor's actions was designed.
Oh, come! I hate
another
this.
chance to convict. That is to provoke a mistrial in order to get another kick at the cat, because the first trial is going badly, or to prejudice the defendant's rights to successfully complete the criminal confrontation at the first trial. Now, the case that I had cited is a Kenosha case, State versus Coping.
Opening?
Yep. 100 with second, 700.
COPENING?
Yes, sir. In that case, the court didn't make findings regarding.
Yeah, it's got to be a morning show. Is for whatever. Oh my God, this is
driving me. And say, who's winning? I don't think that's necessarily what I'm supposed to do. But I think the court has to make some findings as it relates to the bad faith on the part of the prosecutor that the actions that I had talked about were done in bad faith.
I love it. Okay. So you guys heard that, right? From a fucking song. So the judge's phone plays by accident, right? People are arguing that right there shows the judge is biased. Because I think it's Proud to be an American, Lee Greenwood, right? Proud to be an American. You're like, People are arguing that's the misconduct in this trial, not the violation of constitutional rights. Not the violation of constitutional rights. That's not the problem. The ringtone is. The ringtone is the problem. I think it's because the judge has a flip phone, number one, it looks like, right? So it's probably like a 3G .3GP file, like a fucking MIDI file shit. What I think what the guy is saying is that because what happens normally with a mistrial is if there's a mistrial declared, it's declared normally without prejudice. So that means they can bring the prosecution again. I think the prosecution has realized they're fucking this up badly, would like a mistrial declared so they can give it another go in a more favorable setting with maybe a more favorable judge or maybe a more favorable jury. Yeah, no. That's why the defense is saying mistrial this bitch with prejudice. Because when you do it with prejudice, you can't do it. There is no do-over. It's done. With prejudice means you cannot bring this case. You cannot bring these charges again. This is done. The guy is gone. It's done. It was a judge's based alert. It wasn't a flip phone. I thought I saw him close like a flip phone or something, or hit like I don't know. Maybe I was just I was glancing between chat and stuff. Yeah, do over so Kyle can burn more money. Yeah, maybe it's a layer case for a smartphone. I'm not sure. I thought it was a flip phone, maybe, but yeah. So they don't make that argument in here. That's arguments being made on Twitter about the fucking song, right? Yeah, it would be double jeopardy if they tried charging him again after it's being done with prejudice. So it doesn't work that way. Also, violating his Fifth Amendment right to, trying to negatively imply that, oh, you didn't talk about this before. Can't do that. No, don't work that way. Say. So you joke, Mike, but literally at some point I'm going to hopefully implement some different tiers of perks and benefits on the locals. And I'm going to name them Jeopardy, Double Jeopardy, and Final Jeopardy. I have the logos made. I just don't have all the perks figured out. Whenever I get them figured out, that will be figured out at some point in the future. Right now, I just don't have them figured out. So for now, it's just the one level, but you can choose $5 or you can choose more for the locals. But there will be different tiers at some point in the future. The Discord will always be at the $5 level because it's just, I like that way. So we'll figure that out. But this is what I wanted to do tonight, was I wanted to show people. Yeah. So Lord Elect, it makes a great argument. Even if the jury comes back guilty, he can set the verdict aside and make the judgment based on rules of law. This is the perfect answer. Ultimate perk is a picture of you being cuddled by Ken. Actually, because I was thinking of doing a 5, 10, 20 style like Nick does for tiers. I was thinking of doing at the $20 level because I can't figure out what to put on the $20 level. Is I would give you an official diagnosis form, quote unquote, from Ken's counseling couch, and just make up some random shit, print it out, sign it, and send it to you in like a letter, or send you a digital copy of it. I haven't figured it out yet, but I thought that'd be a funny perk. Or do something else that's funny, because I don't know what other things to add at this point, because no one's really given me any good ideas. And I just can't come up with anything that I would want, or I think people would want. And because I'm like, what would people want to spend $20 a month on? That would be worth, like, that's the logic that's running through my head. I'm like, it's like a one-time thing. It doesn't really work, but, it's just trying to figure out the right answer to that. So I just don't know that yet. So that's why it hasn't happened. It will at some point. But, No, can y'all stop arguing about big spoons, little spoons? We'll deal with that on the casting couch. Or the cuddle couch. I don't remember. So, we're running up here at the 2-hour mark. Gotta pay more for you. Let me pull this up real quick. Because I want people to see that I'm not just making shit up. So there's 2 things to consider when doing a diagnosis. So let's do some psychology for a bit. All right, so we have acute stress disorder. So if you've heard from Barnes, he was an attorney that's helped out in the Kyle case. He talked about how after Kyle was put in jail, he was throwing up and sick and nauseous, couldn't eat and shit for the however many days he was in jail. We're going to read why that was probably happening, right? Acute stress disorder. Diagnostic criteria. Exposure to actual or threatened death, serious injury, or sexual violation in one or more of the following ways. I wonder if Kyle had that happen to him, right? So you need one or more of the following things for it to be acute stress disorder. Directly experiencing the traumatic events. Witnessing in person the events as it occurred to others. Learning that the events occurred to a close family member or friend. Though in cases of actual death or threatened death, the events must have been violent or accidental. Okay, that doesn't apply. Experiencing repeated or extreme exposure to aversive details of the traumatic events, e.g. first responders collecting human remains, police officers. Okay. So we know 1 definitely applies, and you could technically apply 2, but it's more just 1, right? Presence of 9 or more, so B, presence of 9 or more of the following symptoms from any of the 5 categories of intrusion, negative mood, dissociation, avoidance, and arousal beginning or worsening after the traumatic events occurred. So intrusion symptoms. 1, recurrent involuntary and intrusive distressing memories of the traumatic events. I would put money on that happening. 2, recurrent distressing dreams in which the content or affect of the dream are related to the events. I would put money on that happening. 3, dissociative reactions, flashbacks in which the individual feels or acts as if the traumatic events were occurring. Such reactions may occur on a continuum, with the most extreme expression being a complete loss of awareness of present surroundings. I probably guess that that's happening to some degree. 4, intense or prolonged psychological distress or marked physiological reactions in response to internal or external cues that symbolize or resemble an aspect of the traumatic events. Put money on that happening. 5, so negative mood. Persistent inability to experience positive emotions, e.g. inability to experience happiness, satisfaction, or loving feelings. Again, remember, this is acute stress disorder, so this is like right after an incident occurs. This is not PTSD yet. PTSD has a time requirement, right? Dissociative symptoms. Number 6, an altered sense of the reality of one's surroundings or oneself, e.g. seeing oneself from another's perspective, being in a daze, time slowing. I don't know about that one. Inability, so number 7, inability to remember important aspects of traumatic event, typically due to dissociative amnesia, and not other factors such as head injury, alcohol, or drugs. I think there was some issues with memory, not necessarily with the concussion, but with the details of the event. Assuming it's not a concussion, then this would probably be at play. Avoidance of the symptoms. So number 8, efforts to avoid distressing memories, thoughts, or feelings about or closely associated with the traumatic event. Considering how much stress it caused him to just simply think about it, I would probably put that on the list. Because you don't want to think about it. If you've ever had shit like this happen to you, if you've ever had that shit happen to you, take care, Shortest Mike. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. If you've ever had traumatic shit happen to you, you don't want to deal with that. Not something fun to remember. You want to distance yourself. You want to avoid it to every fucking bone in your body. It's not fun to think about. So number 9, efforts to avoid external reminders, people, places, conversations, activities, objects, situations that arouse distressing memories, thoughts, or feelings about or closely associated with the traumatic events. So going by those places, seeing those people, smelling the cologne, something like that. All of this could be traumatic. All these could be triggers for the traumatic memories, the traumatic feelings. Right? All of this, I would bet, is happening or has happened to Kyle to some degree. Arousal symptoms. 10, sleep disturbance. Difficulty staying or falling asleep, restless sleep. I'm pretty sure that happened for Kyle. Irritability. So number 11, irritable behavior and angry outbursts with little or no provocation typically expressed as verbal or physical aggression towards people or objects. I don't think that's happened. Hypervigilance. Based on everything that's happened, I would probably put hypervigilance on there. 13, problems with concentration. I think that was a problem. So again, immediately afterwards, I think that was a problem. And 14, exaggerated style response. I don't know on that one because we don't know. So you need at least 9 of these for there to be criteria for a diagnosis. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we got 11 we got 11 to 14. We have the minimum of 9. Criterion C. Duration of the disturbance, symptoms in criterion B is 3 days to 1 month after trauma exposure, which we know based on information. Symptoms typically given immediately after the trauma, but persistence for at least 3 days and up to a month is needed to meet the disorder criteria. So if like you had a really severe event happen, but it only like persisted for a couple days and then it went away and you had nothing else, then you wouldn't have this diagnosis. This is for something that lasts at least 3 days to a month, because after a month, then it would be something we diagnose it as something else. D, criterion D, the disturbance causes clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. This is like a fucking, you see this in basically everything. And then you see this one too, in all these diagnostic criteria. The disturbance is not attributed to a physiological effect of a substance or another medication, medical condition. So like drugs, alcohol, medications, TBI, or not explained by a brief psychotic disorder. So basically with this, Kyle looks like he would have met the diagnostic criteria for acute stress disorder following the events of August 25th, 2020. Now, if we go back up to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, diagnostic criteria, PTSD. Note, the following criteria apply to adults, adolescents, and children older than 6 years. For children 6 years and younger, see corresponding criteria below. So this is for adults up top, right? Criterion A. Exposure to actual or threatened death, serious injury, or sexual violence in one or more of the following ways. Directly experiencing the traumatic events that happened. You could potentially argue 2 again, right? Same thing. And then 3 or 4 doesn't really apply. Similar criteria, right? So let's get down to criterion B. Presence of one or more of the following intrusion symptoms associated with the traumatic events beginning after the traumatic event occurred. 1. Recurrent, involuntary, intrusive, distressing memories of the traumatic event. I would probably agree that happened. Okay. Oh, 1 second. We got a super chat from Diego Machado for 20. I don't know what that is. Shame I can't stay and watch. Almost 1 a.m. here, and I have to work in the morning. Anyway, have some of my worthless Brazil bucks. Hey, they're not worthless, buddy. Thank you for your help and donation. I appreciate it. Support. Thank you for hanging out. You can always check out the replay too. This will be up afterwards, so listen to it in your downtime. I hear that I'm a good background podcast to listen to. Like you can listen to me in the background. You can listen to me when you're not doing. Like you don't have to stay focused. So like you don't have to watch, which I guess works out for me. Because that means people can listen to me and they don't have to actually stay focused on like watching something because it's not necessary to do what you're doing here. So I'll take that as a win. So 2, recurrent distressing dreams in which the content or affect of the dream are related to the traumatic events. I would bet that has happened. 3, dissociative reactions, flashbacks in which the individual feels, or again, same thing. I would probably argue that that's happened as well. 4, intense or prolonged psychological distress and exposure to internal external cues. That is symbolized, again, I would probably bet that that's been happening to Kyle, especially with the trial. Mark, because I've watched him during the trial. I've paid very close attention every time his face shows up on screen. Every time they focus on him. I'm paying close attention to his body language. I'm waiting for him to do something or say something that would be out of character. So let me do this. See, there you go, ArcFi. Thank you. 1 second. So 5, marked physiological reaction to external. So physiological, so physical. So throwing up, nauseous. Again, we have at least one of the intrusive symptoms, which is required. C, persistent avoidance of stimuli associated with traumatic events beginning after the traumatic events occur is evidenced by one or both of the following. Avoidance of the or efforts to avoid distressing memories, thoughts, or feelings about the closely associated with the traumatic event. 2, avoidance of or efforts to avoid external reminders, people, places, conversations. One or both of these are at play. Stormcrow 900 for $20 says, I'd pay to get an unofficial of my internet tisms from you, but only if Nick expertly qualifies you as an expert before the court. I'll have to ask him to do that. I might just do that. I mean, if people want that, I'll make that a perk. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was silly. I thought it was just something stupid I came up with. I was like, I wonder if anyone would like this. I know a couple people would, but I didn't think anyone would really want it. But if you guys want a fucking official unofficial diagnosis for him, I'll fucking do it. Fuck it, we'll do this. But yeah, I can get Nick to expertly qualify me before the court, probably. Oh my god. Oh yes, Photo Chad. Photo Chad was my boy. I love Photo Chad. We're gonna digress real quick. Fuck that prosecutor for being disrespectful to a guy who likely has autism. Don't know. He's not my patient. All the disclaimers. Bottom text. But man, did he fucking own that guy. And did that fucking prosecutor just get pissed and pissed and pissed and pissed every time. That kid was just fucking serving him and serving him and serving him. And he just could not respond. That was 40 love, baby. The entire game. Game match set. Like, oh, it was beautiful. Oh, it was beautiful. Like, he just could. The irony is, and I'm not diagnosing the prosecutors, but they're acting as though they have some sort of ASD spectrum because they're missing things like social cues on witnesses, on other people. Like, they missed the social cue the entire time. That you guys look like dicks. They missed the social cue that it's sarcasm or it's a joke. Like, they're missing everything, or they're literally that stupid in their argumentation. Like, it's that bad. It's ridiculous to me. Real quick, Wilvenar. So Wolvenar asked the question. He's like, Ken, I know some of the answer, but it's worth talking about. I think, what do you think for these symptoms when it's long term? Or what do you do for these symptoms when it's long term, as in years and decades? So that's actually hard to manage. Like for myself, as I've described before, I have things that come up with times as a firefighter, times in EMS, other shit I've participated in or engaged in or was a witness to, and the shit will come out of nowhere, and it's never fun. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. The goal is to have what you do to deal with this kind of stuff is to build strong, helpful, supportive coping mechanisms. You have to find ways to, in those moments, deal with that trauma, deal with that stressor, and move forward from it, right? Because it's not an easy thing to do. It's so shitty. It's so... The goal is, with time and with therapy and with intervention, you recognize what you did have control over, what you didn't have control over, what you could have done better, what you couldn't have done better. Those things you overanalyze. For example, the one EMS call, my first EMS call I was ever in charge of, because everyone else was not at the fire station that day. It was just me and two guys, another junior firefighter and a guy who didn't have any medical training. And I thought I did my best. I ran the call. I still felt guilty as shit for years afterwards that I could have done something better. Even though my the guy, our paramedic at the station who, was in charge of our EMS program was like, you did everything right. You did everything perfect. I still felt like I didn't. I felt like I could have done something more, and that shit weighed on me. I mean, it still comes up when I think about it, but it's like, I know I put in my best effort. I know I put my best foot forward. For a situation like this, Kyle, he's going to have guilt that he had to shoot people. He's going to have guilt that he had to pull the trigger. He's going to have guilt that his family and himself had to get drugged through the media and through this court system and people doing everything they can to fuck with him. And if he gets off, which I pray to, not religious, but I pray to God he gets off, right? He will get attacked and shit on, and just people will never let it go. And it's awful, awful, awful. And it's always going to follow him. He's always going to have that weighing in the back of his mind. If he's not in therapy now, or if you're dealing with something like this and you're not in therapy, go get in therapy. You need it. There's nothing wrong with that. People shit on me because I say I'm a therapist who's in therapy. Oh, you can't be a therapist if you're in therapy. Guess what, bitch? Guess how many therapists have their own therapist? There is quite a bit. In fact, it should be a fucking requirement. Because you need to know what it's like to sit on both sides. You need to know what it's like to sit in the one chair, and you need to know what it's like to sit on the other chair. So owner says, I have tried link bad memories. I have the stuff that drive me for betterment, almost always. Physical activities that are unique, not every day, but enjoyable. It's a hard thing to do, harder to explain. Yeah. My therapist, say twisted up. My therapist, exactly. Mike said, one of my jobs, my super is a crisis counselor. He even said he has a therapist. Exactly. But people shit on me all the time and say, you how could you be a good therapist if you have a therapist, if you have your own shit? So I've got my shit mostly under control. Because I've dealt with it. Because I've worked through it. Takes time. Takes effort. Takes a lot of work. Doesn't mean it doesn't come back. Doesn't mean it's not. If that were the case, you wouldn't have any therapists because they would all not be able to practice if they had therapists. It's a stupid rule. And it's hypocritical to me because how can you say, oh, it's okay if you need to get therapy, but then shit on therapists for having a therapist? That's a hypocritical thing to me. Just saying. People are going to make him the next Zimmerman, and it's awful. Kyle needs to be in therapy with a very good therapist who specializes in trauma. Probably needs to do something like EMDR. Yeah, I know, Twisted. But guess what? Ken isn't going anywhere, baby. Ken likes what he does. Ken loves doing this shit. The only thing Ken doesn't like is doing accidental 7 to 10 hour streams. Because it hurts my back. Not that I don't like the content. It's just my back is fucking killing me by the time that shit's done. Exactly, Mike. Everyone has problems. Everyone has shit that comes up in their life. So Webinar says, we have a rule at our outpatient center that to be a person dealing with people who are trying to work through addictions and drugs, have some sort of previous problem with addictive substances. See, that's the one section I won't work on. Is I don't do people who have substance abuse issues who have also had issues with abusing their children. Is like severe issues with both. It's like the one area I won't do practice for because of my concerns about being able to manage it properly. Everything else is on the table for me. No, just a chicken fan. I had Dollhouse Phil on, and I also had producer Tim on, but not Drexel at the same time. I will have Drexel on at some point to discuss the ethics of using the N-word. That's literally a stream I'm going to do with Drexel at some point. It's going to be a great stream. It's a scholarly paper. It's literally titled Who Can Say the N-Word, but the full thing, and I'm not going to say it today. And Other Considerations is the title of the paper. It's a great paper. It's like from 10, 20 years ago. It's hilarious. But it's like, who's allowed to say it? It'll be great when Drexel's on. If I can get him on for I got to get with him scheduling on that. It's going to be a great stream. But I don't, like I aim for my streams to be like 2 to 3 hours, but sometimes they end up going longer. Hey, it's Adams. What's up, buddy? But yeah, for trauma, you just gotta find what works for you. If it's exercise, if it's doing NVIDIA Canvas and drawing child support canyons, which is one of my favorite things I've ever done. If you haven't watched that stream, watch that stream. That was the best thing I've ever done. Fuck, where the hell is that? Do I have that up somewhere? Yes. We literally spent, what, 2 hours, guys, drawing Dixon stuff on stream for actual landscape photos. That was great. I had so much fun with that stream, and it was relaxing as shit. Oh, man, that was great. Let's continue this before I fall off track even further. Negative alterations in cognitions and mood associated with traumatic events, beginning or worsening after traumatic event occurred, is evidenced by 2 or more of the following, so we need at least 2. Also, Grambo was pretty awesome. 1. Inability to remember an important aspect of the traumatic events, typically due to dissociative amnesia and not other factors such as internet alcohol. Possibly that. 2. Persistent and exaggerated negative beliefs or expectations about oneself, others, of the world. I am bad. No one can be trusted. The world is completely dangerous. My whole nervous system is completely ruined. I don't know on that one. That's more of an internal one. You would have to interview someone to really get that. Or have someone who has talked to them and heard that. I haven't heard that information. Persistent distorted cognitions about cause or consequences of traumatic events that led to the individual to blame his or herself or others. I don't know on that one, but most people will put a lot of blame on themselves. So I'll kind of leave that one there for now. Just to make sure we hit enough. But I'll take it away if it's not, if there's not enough there to start, if it's the only other 2. Persistent negative emotional state. So that's fear, horror, anger, guilt, or shame. Probably the lot of that. I think there's probably a lot of that. Even though he doesn't maybe want there to be, I would guarantee that's going on. Markedly diminished interest or participation in significant activities. I don't know. I mean, he's going to school, apparently. He's doing his nursing program, which is great. I hope he becomes a great nurse. I hope he becomes like a flight nurse or something. That was something I wanted to do at one point. Be like a flight nurse for Life Flight. Because that shit was cool at the time. Changed my career path markedly at the time from then. I've gone down many roads since then. But I'm happy where I'm at. Feelings of detachment or estrangement from others. Probably going on to some degree. Let's see. Persistent inability to experience positive emotions, e.g. inability to experience happiness, satisfaction, or loving feelings. Might be going on to some degree. So I could remove this here and still have enough, right? Yeah, Wolvenar, and that's a population that a lot of people won't work with. And the people I were talking about wasn't that. It was just anyone who has alcohol or substance abuse and has physically abused or neglected their children. I can do abuse. I just can't do a physical abuse or neglect and substances because of my concerns about being able to remain impartial or transference, countertransference stuff, right? That's the reason I won't do that. And it has to be severe. So like if I know coming in it's severe, I won't take it. If it like sort of comes up but it's not bad, I'll keep it like later. Or if I have a rapport established and I don't feel it's going to impact me, then I'm okay. But outside of that, no, I won't do it. And that's because I don't want them to get a counselor who potentially might be biased against them accidentally, or who might be transferring their own issues onto them, or their own family history or other relatives or friends and shit onto them. And it's not fair to them. I don't think that's okay. So, let's see. And Seeker, you're right. It's hard to analyze based off of this, but when I watch a breakdown like you saw today in court, you can kind of work backwards a bit and kind of see what can lead there. Again, lot of guesswork here, a lot of guessing. Not his therapist, bottom text. You know the rules. So Arc 5, when you say they have their own shit, they don't need your kind of thing. It's not so the what transference, countertransference is basically like me like transferring my issues onto the client, or taking on the client's issues or to me, and one or both of those impacting my ability to practice. That's my issue. And I don't want that to ever be an issue with any one of my patients or clients or whatever they call them, right? Whatever your office calls them, right? I usually call them clients. I say patients by accident sometimes. I want my clients to ever be in a situation where they become my client. I start doing therapy with them because they have that. They start bringing up shit that becomes an issue for me personally, and I start treating them differently than I would normally. It's not fair for me to put them in that situation by taking them on. I will give them to a different therapist before I take them on. I will lose the money because it's not about the money to me. It's about making sure they are in the right care before anything else matters. Everything else is secondary. Money, time, like all that doesn't matter. Consistent client, like no. I would rather them go to someone else who doesn't have that concern. So no, it's fine. I just was clarifying as well. Well, the thing is that doesn't always, in that situation, it doesn't always mean be very helpful, right? Because no one pat him on the back, told him he did good. Everyone ignored him. There's things we might have missed after the cameras went off, after, like, you never know what was said because the mics get muted or the fucking streams goes to 3 pixels, literally. Not even joking. But after that, sometimes you just need that moment to process it. You need to be like, because I guarantee you they've practiced this going into this. They've had to have practiced this going into this. You don't do that good without practicing. Cruz, I guarantee you Kyle pushed for that because they can't tell him no. If he wants to testify, even against attorney advice, they have to let him. He has a right to either shut up or talk. No one can take it away from him. Barnes said it was the lawyers that wanted it. I trust Barnes for the most part, but Kyle comes across to me as the kind of kid who at 18 thinks that if he tells his side of the story, probably will, people will believe me. People will, I have nothing to hide. He doesn't understand as someone else was saying earlier, he doesn't understand the way the system's fucked. Right? That's what my issue would be. He doesn't understand how fucked up the system can be, how it can ruin your life and all that great shit. By a simple couple miswords, like, no. I would put a lot of the lawyers probably thought it was a good idea, maybe, that Kyle, because he has nothing to hide. I have a feeling Kyle probably, because he was really confident. He was really well spoken. And I agree. Like Karen, you're saying here, damn it. It looked like he wanted help from his lawyers, but they didn't until the judge called him out. Help. Yeah. I'm not saying it went down perfectly. It could have definitely been better. And there's ways it could have been done different. I would have done it differently. I would never testify at my own trial. It's too risky. I'm a therapist. I ask people questions for a living. I know how to respond to shit. I would fuck it up. Kyle fucked up. The only thing that works in his favor, and he didn't fuck up like super bad. The thing that works in his favor is you have a prosecutor who's just got this massive raging hard-on for going after him that instead of taking this and using those fuck ups he says that make it look really bad for Kyle, they just keep fucking it up and fucking it up and fucking it up and repeating, and everyone's bored and everyone's fucking remembers. So it went way better than I thought it would. I'm impressed, truly. He did extremely well. I've had to testify in a court case or two before. One where I had a hostile attorney coming at me, and it wasn't so much I was getting frustrated. I was trying not to laugh because I kind of surprised them with my testimony because they thought I was supporting their client with my I was doing guardian ad litem shit at the time. They thought I was supporting their client getting custody back, and I wasn't. I don't know where they got the idea from, but I go up to testify and they say, no, I don't think that this should happen this way. And the attorney just loses their shit on me in front of the judge and is like fucking screaming at me, asking questions and shit. And it's taking all of my military bearing not to laugh. Like all of the shit I've ever practiced, like, you know, where you stand at attention, you don't laugh. Nothing can make you, like, you got to hold it together. I knew I couldn't laugh. I knew I couldn't laugh at this person being a dick. Wolfenor says, I'm now banned from being a juror because I have eviscerated an attorney that was grilling me. That's great. That's awesome. So let's finish this up here and let's get to bed because it's getting kind of late. I don't think Nick's streaming tonight. I really want to continue to watch the rest of this trial replay on Nick because I was on the phone a lot today helping to deal with some stuff. So I want to watch it again to make sure I didn't miss anything important. And I think there's this trial tomorrow. Hey, GK, what's up, buddy? Oh, see, you were playing Final Fantasy V. That's sad. But welcome to the stream. We're finishing up here tonight. Yeah, I know he's going on a show tomorrow, but I think he says he's doing so he's going to be late to the stream tomorrow, I think is what he was saying. Say, well, we're basically wrapping up because one, I've yawned like 8 times already. So I was just finishing up the PTSD diagnostic requirements here. So we have marked alterations in arousal and reactivity associated with traumatic events. So I've done this on another stream on PTSD. So there's a whole stream on that. Beginning or worsening after traumatic events occurred is evidenced by 2 or more of the following. Irritable behavior and angry outbursts. I don't see that in Kyle. I don't see reckless or self-destructive behavior. I'd probably guess hypervigilance based on the life, probably the threats on his life and people like going at him and shit. I guarantee that's happening. That's probably happening as well. Problems with concentration and sleep disturbance. I know the last 2 are probably happening. I would guess on these other 2. And so you still have 2 or more. Right? So that's your requirement. So you have 2 or more. I put money on the last 2 happening. These 2, I'd guess that. So we still have at least 2. Duration of disturbance of B, C, D, and E is more than 1 month. So there's that 1 month criteria. So it's acute stress disorder when it's 3 days to 1 month. And if it's more than 1 month, it becomes a post-traumatic stress disorder because you're post-trauma. You're after the trauma has happened. Acute, the stress has just happened. So, and then you have your, these are in everything. The disturbance issue, whatever, causes clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or important areas of functioning. Disturbance not attributed to physiological effect of a substance or another medical condition. And then you have specifiers. I love specifiers. Specifiers are great. So specify with dissociative symptoms. This gives you more clarity on like what's going on. So the individual symptoms meet the criteria for post-traumatic stress disorder, and in addition, in response to the stress, the individual experiences persistent and recurrent symptoms of either of the following. Depersonalization, which is persistent or recurrent experiences of feeling detached from, as if one were an outside observer of one's mental processes or body, feeling as though one were in a dream, feeling a sense of unreality of self or body or of time moving slowly. Again, I don't know on these specifiers because that will be something you really need to talk to someone about. And then you have derealization for 2, so persistent or recurrent experiences of unreality of surroundings. Example, the world around the individual is experienced as a real, dreamlike, or distant, or distorted. Note, to use the subtitle, dissociative symptoms must not be attributable to the physiological effects of a substance, blackouts, behavior during alcohol intoxication, or another medical conditions like complex partial seizures. And you have specify if, with delayed expression, if the full diagnostic criteria are not met until at least 6 months after the event, although the onset and expression of some symptoms may be immediate. So this is basically where you might have a few symptoms that start out at the beginning, but it takes at least 6 months for the full effects of this PTSD to kick in, right? Like maybe it starts ramping up. Maybe you only have a few and then it kind of grows, or those ones get worse. And then you finally start getting all the others. But now you've met all of the criteria. That's where you would have a specifier of delayed expression. And you have PTSD for children under 6, which he's not under 6. Basically, just a little bit shit. Basically, just a change in the way it's expressed and diagnosed. You just want to make sure that you're paying attention to the right things, making sure you're not missing anything, you know. And then where's my favorite section here? My favorite section, where's it at? Let's see. That, and I get to make the joke.
Differential diagnosis, people.
Differential diagnosis. So, is it really PTSD? For this situation, yeah, it's probably PTSD. It's not an adjustment disorder. Definitely, at this point, I would not call it an adjustment disorder. Other post-traumatic disorders and conditions, probably not. We know it's not acute stress disorder at this point. Again, immediately afterwards, probably. Now, no. Anxiety or OCD. There's probably comorbid anxiety, probably major depressive, on top of the PTSD. I wouldn't say any personality disorders, probably no dissociative disorders, no conversion, and I don't see any psychotic, no TBI. So as far as the diagnosis goes, if I were this, again, based off this information, this is what I would have. This is what I would feel comfortable with. I would feel comfortable calling this a case of PTSD. I would feel comfortable saying that Kyle Rittenhouse likely has PTSD. And again, bottom text, because it is what it is, and I can't help that. It's really shitty. It's really fucked that this is happening. I wish there was a better way to... Where the hell did it go? Trying to find something to end the stream on. Something that's funny. To kind of help lighten the mood here. Where the hell did it go? I just had it pulled up too. What the fuck? Is this it? Yes, it is. Okay. So we will end the stream on this note. So any questions, any last minute things before we go ahead and end the stream? No Grambo clip. I have obtained this is an exclusive, quote, exclusive, up until now, never before seen clip of behind the scenes of what happened in the courtroom during that break, and the judge just completely fucking up the entire prosecution's team. That is what's happening tonight. You are getting it only here on Kent's Counseling Couch. If you haven't picked up on the joke yet, I'm sorry, because it's really, oh god, I hate myself. No, god damn it, I clicked the wrong thing. All right, so we'll go ahead and play this for our exit strategy today. So this will be fun. There we go. Share. All right, so again, exclusive, never before seen. You're getting to see what no one else sees. insight into what really goes on in court, what really happens when you piss off a judge, what really happens, why you don't piss off a judge. I'm going to play this as the outro. This will be our outro today. I'll play this and play the outro. I still haven't figured out what I'm doing yet. So it'll be that. It'll be one or both. So here we go. Once, never before seen. You guys ready? Here we go. You ready to see the judge fuck up the prosecution? Here we go, baby.
I am Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, your senior drill instructor. From now on, you will speak only when spoken to. And the first and last words out of your filthy sewers will be, sir. Do you maggots understand that? Sir, yes, sir. Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair. Sir, yes, sir. If you ladies leave my island, if you survive recruit training, you will be a weapon. You will be a minister of death praying for war. But until that day, you are pukes. You are the lowest form of life on earth. You are not even human fucking beings. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit. Because I am hard, you will not like me. But the more you hate me, the more you will learn. I am hard, but I am fair. There is no racial bigotry here. I do not look down on niggers, kites, wops, or greasers. Here you are all equally worthless. And my orders are to weed out all non-hackers who do not pack the gear to serve in my beloved corps. Do you maggots understand that? Sir, yes, sir. Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sir, yes, sir. What's your name, scumbag? Sir, Private Brown, sir. Bullshit, from now on you're Private Snowball. Do you like that name? Sir, yes, sir. Well, there's one thing that you won't like, Private Snowball. They don't serve fried chicken and watermelon on a daily basis in my mess hall.
I love that line.
That you, John Wayne? Is this me?
This is bigger. This is bigger.
Who the fuck said that? Who's the slimy little communist shit twinkle-toed cocksucker down here who just signed his own death warrant? Nobody, huh? The very fucking godmother said it. Outstanding. I will PT you all until you fucking die. I'll PT you until your assholes are sucking buttermilk. Was it you scrawny little fuck, huh? Sir, no, sir. You little piece of shit, you look like a fucking worm. I bet it was you. Sir, no, sir.
Sir, I said it, sir.
Well, no shit. What have we got here? A fucking comedian, private joker. I admire your honesty. Hell, I like you. You can come over to my house and fuck my sister. You little scumbag. I got your name. I got your ass. You will not laugh. You will not cry. You will learn by the numbers. I will teach you. Now get up. Get on your feet. You had best unfuck yourself or I will unscrew your head and shut down your neck.
Sir, yes, sir.
Private Joker, why did you join my beloved corps?
Sir, to kill, sir.
So you're a killer.
Sir, yes, sir.
Let me see your war face.
Sir.
You got a war face? Ah! That's a war face. Now let me see your war face. Bullshit, you didn't convince me. Let me see your real war face. You don't scare me. Work on it.
Sir, yes, sir.
What's your excuse?
Sir, excuse for what, sir?
I'm asking the fucking questions here, Private. Do you understand?
Sir, yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Can I be in charge for a while?
Sir, yes, sir.
Are you shook up? Are you nervous?
Sir, I am, sir.
Do I make you nervous?
Sir.
Sir, what? Are you about to call me an asshole?
Sir, no, sir.
How tall are you, Private?
Sir, 5'9", sir.
5'9". I didn't know they stacked shit that high. You trying to squeeze an inch in on me somewhere, huh?
Sir, no, sir.
Bullshit. It looks to me like the best part of you ran down the crack of your mama's ass and ended
Someone
up with
needs
the
to
brown stain on your
Photoshop
asshole.
Binger into these different
I think you've
scenes
been
where
cheated.
Sergeant
Where the hell
Hartman's
are you
yelling
from
at
anyway,
these people.
Private?
It'd be
Sir,
great.
Texas, sir.
Holy dog shit. Texas, only steers and queers come from Texas, Private Cowboy. And you don't much look like a steer to me, so that kind of narrows it down. Do you suck dicks?
Sir, no, sir.
Are you a Peter Pupper?
Sir, no,
Oh,
sir.
that
I
fucking
bet
line.
you're the kind of guy that would fuck a person in the ass and not even have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around. I'll be watching you.
Baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, break it, fix it, crash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, slide it, get it, fix it, save it, load it, check it, write